Chapter 574. He felt that his hands were numb and his mouth was dry. The woman on the other side of the river just stood there stiffly, not moving at all. She was wearing the white dress that he had bought for her. Her hair was draped over her shoulders, and when the wind blew, the hem of her skirt and hair swayed gently. Her eyes were dull, and she really looked like Xiao Longnu, who had stayed in an ancient tomb for a long time. In the face of Yi Er's indifference, Jiang Zhao's temper flared up. He looked at the river in front of him, and he couldn't cross it. He shouldn't have asked her to come over. All right, he would go over. But just as he reached the river and was about to swim over, the woman on the other side spoke. When she spoke, her face was full of pain. "I don't love you. I don't love you. Don't come over. Don't come over." Before she even entered the river, it was as if she was drowning. He had said it countless times, and he had said it countless times to himself. Anyway, she didn't love him. Anyway, he didn't care. It didn't matter if she didn't love him. Anyway, she could only be with him. He didn't mind those *T feelings and love. It wasn't like he could eat it. It's okay. You can be at ease as Mrs. Jiang. It's okay. Don't feel like you're in pain. I didn't ask you to love me. I don't mind. Don't come over. Let me be at ease. Let me be free. There was no sound on the surface of the river. Her weak voice came from the other side. When it came, it sounded like it came from the water. He couldn't even hear the ups and downs in her words. There were no ups and downs at all. Only her gently furrowed brows told him that she was really in pain. The kind of pain spread from her eyes to her eyebrows and then slowly flowed to her entire body. That kind of sadness and pain seemed to have suddenly come from hell. It turned blood red and flowed all over her body. He watched helplessly as her white dress was dyed a bright red from the pain. It was on her arms, face, and everywhere. He jumped into the river and swam towards her. He thought that even if he tortured each other with her, even if she struggled in pain until her entire body was covered in blood, he would not let go. It did not matter if it was dyed red. There was a river here. He would wash her clean. Suddenly, there seemed to be many seaweeds growing in the river. The seaweeds swayed their waists in the water and reached out their slender hands, trying to grab his legs. At this time, he only cared about using brute force to swim to the other side. The seaweeds that wrapped around his ankles were pulled apart by him every time. His eyes were above the water, watching the woman in blood slowly turn around without any reluctance. More and more seaweed grew on his legs, and he could no longer kick them. The things in front of him turned into fish, prawns, and black seaweed. He flipped over and looked up. Some sunlight pierced through the water surface. "Don't bother about my business. I have to go to the hospital today, no matter what. When Yi was in trouble, Jiang Zhao already called to inform me that you didn't allow me to go. The more I think about it these past few days, the more I feel that something is wrong. Jiang Zhao didn't even call me after the incident. I called Yin Hongwei to talk to Si Jie, but Si Jie ignored me. How can there be someone like you in this world? Yi is my biological daughter. Shouldn't I go and see her at this time?" Jolie sniffled and pulled out another tissue. She closed her eyes and pressed the tissue against her face, wetting a small patch. "Crying? What did I say? You promised to cut off all ties with those annoying people in the Yun family if you were to be with me. You promised, and now you're regretting it." Jolie threw away the tissue in her hand and raised her chin. She looked at herself in the mirror and began to apply foundation. "Yes, I regret it. I want to see Yi. You can do whatever you want." Yuan Shichang was already used to Zhou Li's temperament that changed her mind from time to time. Anyway, he couldn't force her. He turned around and picked up the tie that he had thrown on the bed and tied it. "Go and see her. Go and see if she has tubes all over her body. You'd better help her and let her see the king of hell. It's better if she sees the king of hell. That way, it'll be easy for you to get custody of Si Jie. I don't believe that Jiang Zhao will care about a dead person's brother and father. Yin Hongwei can only continue to go to jail." Just as he finished speaking, Jolie smashed the foundation bottle in her hand hard on the back of Yuan Shichang's head with a bang. Yuan Shichang turned around in pain and saw that Zhou Li had already stood up and turned to face him. She glared at him with an angry expression. "Yuan Shichang, How many times have I told you not to talk about Yi? You actually have such bad intentions. Jolie, don't be ungrateful. Everything you eat and use belongs to me, Yuan Shichong. Yes, fortunately this house is under my name. Get out of here right now. When Yuan Shichong saw that Jolie was serious, he clenched his fists and stopped being angry. Okay, I was wrong. I shouldn't have talked about your daughter. If you want to see her, then go. This should be fine, right? Just go home early. Jolie turned around and sat down to continue tidying up and putting on makeup. Yuan Shichong reached out and touched the back of his head. It was actually a big bump. This damned woman was really heavy-handed. Jiang Zhao felt as if he had been tied up by seaweed again. He couldn't move at all. He kept looking at the sun above his head. The light was not glaring at all. It was peaceful and serene. The bubbles in his mouth changed from big bubbles to small bubbles that he couldn't see clearly. He only knew that it was difficult for him to move his chest. Jolie entered the ward and saw that Jiang Zhao was sleeping with his head covered. She did not feel that there was anything worth avoiding. She wanted to ask about Yi Er's situation, so she pulled away Jiang Zhao's blanket. When she pulled it away, she saw that his face was covered in sweat. There were even water stains at the corners of his eyes. His face was a little pale. She was shocked. She quickly pushed him a few times. Jiang Zhao, are you sick? Next to them was her daughter's bed. There were no tubes all over her body, like Yuan Shichong had said. There were only bags of fluids. Her son-in-law was sleeping on the side bed. His face was pale, as if he was seriously ill. Her heart was being squeezed. After Jiang Zhao was pushed awake, he sat up. His eyes looked in Zhou Li's direction, but his gaze seemed to penetrate Zhou Li and look further away. Suddenly, he remembered the dream and lifted the blanket. Where's Yin Yi? Zhou Li was puzzled. She's on the hospital bed. Jiang Zhao stopped preparing to put on his shoes and looked at the person lying motionless on the hospital bed. His face was wet with sweat, and his eyes were slightly red. Thinking about the dream, his body suddenly trembled. Before he could put his feet into his shoes, he took 2 steps to the bedside. He reached out and touched her nose. Her breathing was even. It seemed like she was still dreaming. He heaved a sigh of relief. What flashed in front of his eyes was her sad and painful expression. It was still those weak words. She said that she did not want him. His mind was still thinking about the silk dress that had turned blood red. He watched her collapse. She said that she wanted to be free. He started to breathe heavily again, panting heavily. It was clearly just a dream, but the pain in his heart was unbearable. He had heard of some cases where patients with serious illnesses did not want to receive treatment anymore because they could no longer bear the pain caused by treatment. Those people want to be free all the time. They wanted to go to heaven where they could be free without drugs or machines. Was this dream given to him by Yi? But the doctor said that she was fine. She was only in a temporary coma. The doctor said that everything was fine. Until now, she had not undergone any major treatment. The doctor also said that the blood clot in her head did not necessarily require surgery. It could be treated with physical therapy. He did not let her suffer a lot. He also could not bear for her to suffer. What did she mean by free? He reached out and touched the 4 bag by her bedside. It was full again. The nurse must have asked the nurse to come and change it in the middle of the night. He traced the 4 bag down and touched the roller to slow down the drip. He wanted to give her less pain. Other than this, he did not know how to reduce her pain. Perhaps she was really like what Grandpa said. She was conscious. She needed a rest. He did not know where the needle hole on the back of his hand was. She must have felt it. Jiang Zhao, don't cry. Yi will be fine. Jolie was a little angry at Jiang Zhao for not calling her. Later, she realized that his gaze was always on things related to Yi. She did not know where his mind had wandered. She just kept crying and did not make a sound. Jiang Zhao was stunned by Zhou Li's call. When he came back to his senses, he saw that Zhou Li was very blurry. He reached out and touched his face. He did not know if it was sweat or tears. Awesome novel, Xinwu 799. Chapter 575. Jiang Zhao. Yi will be fine. Jiang Zhao did not feel that he had lost his composure. He did not even glance at the radiant Zhou Li and coldly replied, Okay. She turned her back, bent over, and wiped her tears on the blanket that Year was covering. She said angrily, I'm wearing such an expensive suit, and yet I'm wiping your tears on your blanket. You're lucky that I'm wiping my tears on your blanket. It was as if Year was still awake at this moment. They were usually like this and could not help but say some nasty things. Jiang Zhao's indifference towards Zhou Li was not intentional. He really did not take Zhou Li seriously. In the beginning, he called Zhou Li and told her about Yi Er's situation. Zhou Li agreed to come over to take a look, but she did not even respond. He called again to confirm, but in the end, she simply said that she had something to do. Forget it. It was good that she did not have a mother. He did not have to worry so much. In the future, he would persuade Yi Er not to care about these things. With his father and brother around, he would still feel like a family. How could this woman, Zhou Li, be a woman who could give others warmth? Jiang Zhao, I'm here to see Yi Er. At this moment, Zhou Li felt that when Jiang Zhao did not respect her, she was actually inferior to a guest standing here. Okay, you see, she's still sleeping. When she wakes up another day, I'll call you. Jiang Zhao leaned over Yi Er weakly. He really wanted to throw her into the bathtub and give her a good bath. Zhou Li was furious. When Yi Er was awake in the past, Jiang Zhao would call her mom hypocritically. Now, not only did he ask her to leave, but he also directly used the word you instead. Zhou Li only appeared after such a long time. In Jiang Zhao's eyes, it was only because of Si Jie's custody rights. It really did not make him feel good. His mood was bad enough, really bad. If Zhou Li continued to stay here, he was afraid that he would have to vent all the emotions that he had suppressed during this period of time. Because his family was always worried that he would be in a bad mood, they tolerated him, making him feel embarrassed to lose his temper at them. Brother. Qin Fian came in from the open door. When he saw Zhou Li, he only called Jiang Zhao. Qin Fian had heard about Zhou Li's custody rights from Jiang Zhao, so it was natural that his impression of Zhou Li was not good. Fian, Jiang Zhao sat up and turned. Brother, let's go. Uncle Wu has arranged for people to guard here. I'll send you to the building. After Yi Er's accident, Qin Fian or Zhuahao sent Jiang Zhao to work every day. They took turns telling him new things on the way to work. As usual, Jiang Zhao went to the bathroom to wash his face, brush his teeth, and shave. When he returned to the room, he faintly said to Zhou Li, Mom, I want to change my clothes. There is no private changing room in the ward, so it's not very convenient. At this time, he called Mom, but the meaning was even more obvious. Zhou Li was embarrassed. Qin Fian pushed up his glasses and did not call anyone. He only pursed his lips and gave a forced smile. After Zhou Li left, Jiang Zhao took off his pajamas and threw them on the bed. He took out his suit, shirt, and sweater from the wardrobe and put them on one by one. Qin Fian helped Jiang Zhao straighten the back of his shirt collar and raised it slightly. You are very heartless, even chasing your mother-in-law away. You are very understanding. Jiang Zhao looked down at the front of his shirt, buttoned it, and smiled. Of course. Why don't you commit incest with me? Normally, Qin Fian would only tell Jiang Zhao that he did not commit incest. Recently, in order to make Jiang Zhao happy, he had done a lot of things to himself for Jiang Zhao. Don't say it so loudly. Be careful that your sister-in-law finds out. Later, she will insert the needle in her arm into your hand and make you give her a 4-drip. Sigh, if you are willing to do this, then I can only be willing to be tormented by you. Qin Fian took Jiang Zhao's briefcase and sat on the table by the window. Zhou Li came, but you didn't let her accompany sister-in-law. You chased her away just like that. I'm afraid she is sad. Sad? Jiang Zhao looked at the mirror outside the wardrobe and put the tie around his neck. He raised his head and looked at himself in the mirror. He snorted. It would have been better if he didn't say this, but now that he said this, he was furious. She'll be sad? Does she look like she's sad? I seriously suspect that she gave birth to Yi Er when she was underage. Look at her now. She clearly looks like a woman in her 30s. When she gave birth to Yi Er, she must have been so young that she didn't know anything. Otherwise, when Yi Er was lying on the bed like this, I actually couldn't see any love in her eyes. Your beauty, you, and my sister Jeanne are examples of women who don't care about their families. But are they the same as her? No matter how much they don't care about their families, they still love their children, right? Sigh. Now that you mention it, I suddenly feel that Beauty You is exceptionally cute and likable. Of course, although they didn't care about us since we were young, when did they not rush back from afar at critical moments? Although sometimes we say that it's annoying, aren't we quite happy in our hearts? But look at Jolie. How old was Yi when my father-in-law had an accident? She dared to disappear without a trace and leave a mess to Yi. If it were anyone else, I'm afraid I would have kicked them. Don't be so angry. Qin Fian placed his briefcase on his desk and walked behind Jiang Zhao. He tugged at the hem of his suit. After all, she's your mother-in-law. What kind of mother-in-law is she? Calling her mom is already giving Yi 10,000% of face. I can't possibly keep her here. You didn't see it. Every time she sees Yi, she makes Yi so anxious that she cries. I can't casually throw the person on a hospital bed to her to agitate her. What if she starts drugging Yi the moment I leave? I have to be on guard against this kind of thing. It was only when he saw the helper at home coming over that Jiang Zhao gave Yi a kiss and followed Qin Fian out of the ward. After getting into the car, Jiang Zhao said, Fian, you actually don't have to send me off. I can get Lu Chang to pick me up. Qin Fian handed Jiang Zhao the breakfast in a thermos that they brought from home. Have some porridge. Today's porridge is made with red beans. Uncle Wu said that you should eat some red bean porridge in the morning. He didn't agree to let Lu Chang pick Jiang Zhao up. After all, Lu Chang was an outsider. He always knew that Jiang Zhao was very guarded against outsiders. How could he be as relaxed as him and Zhua Hao picking him up? When he was with them, Jiang Zhao would still joke around. If he was with his colleagues, he would probably be even more depressed. Grandfather had reminded him many times that he must not let Jiang Zhao be depressed. Aunt and uncle would always thank him and Zhua Hao. They said that it was good that they had so many brothers. If there was anything, everyone could help. Actually, in private, the elders all complained about Yi. It was just that they ran into a wall with Jiang Zhao, so they didn't mention it again. Jiang Zhao wouldn't reject the good intentions of the family. He knew that everyone seemed to be going on with their lives normally, but they were all taking care of his feelings. They just didn't want him to feel burdened if he found out. Opening the lid, Qin Fian started driving. Jiang Zhao began to eat porridge and side dishes. The red beans must have been soaked for an entire night. The beans melted in his mouth very quickly. The diced radish was Jiang Zhao's favorite side dish to eat with porridge. The Qin family's mother would make a big bowl of it every year. The diced radish made a crisp sound in his mouth when he bit it. Qin Fian had been driving slowly. In addition, it was in the morning, so he couldn't go faster even if he wanted to. Jiang Zhao had developed a habit of eating in the car every day. Qin Fian glanced at the man in the passenger's seat at the red light. Sigh, he was really sloppy and scared. If it were in the past, even if you beat him to death, he wouldn't eat in the car no matter how busy he was. Jiang Zhao cared a lot about his image. Now, he didn't care about it at all. Jiang Zhao never ate in the ward. The Qin family would send food to him. Otherwise, he would eat in the car on the way to work. If it was lunch break, he would eat in the lounge. Actually, he didn't deliberately test Jiang Zhao's weakness. It was just that when he sent breakfast to Jiang Zhao to eat in the room that day, he was rejected. After that, he quarreled with Jiang Zhao. In the end, Jiang Zhao's eyes were a little red. He softly choked and said, "In the past, when your sister-in-law was by my side, we would eat together. If she had some awareness and knew that I was eating alone and didn't let her eat, she would be very sad." From then on, Qin Fian didn't bring breakfast upstairs anymore. He just threw it in the car. After getting in the car, he drove alone and ate breakfast alone. After Jiang Zhao finished his breakfast, he closed the lid and put the thermos on the back seat to save space. He wiped his mouth with a tissue and threw it into a small paper bag in the car door. "Fian, last time I told you about the coastline. Did you pay attention to it?" Qin Fian nodded. "Yes. Recently, the coastline has been causing trouble. It seems to be getting bigger and bigger." Jiang Zhao leaned back and stretched his back. He hadn't exercised in a long time and felt that his back was very tired. "What else do you know?" Qin Fian knew that Jiang Zhao wouldn't tell him this for no reason. When he glanced over, he just happened to catch a glimpse of the man in the front passenger seat. His handsome face was solemn. He knew that he must have some secrets. His devilish face gently curved into a smile. The hand holding the steering wheel tapped lightly as he searched for all the information he knew. Zhuang Yifeng is probably at a disadvantage this time. Now, there's a wave of cancellations. Although his uncle helped him with the loan, if this matter gets out of hand, his uncle will also be affected. Moreover, the coastline is quite big. It's almost equivalent to the sum of the buildings he built in the past. If this matter really gets out of hand, I'm afraid he can only auction the coastline. Qin Fian's tone was somewhat gloating. What do you think of this matter? Jiang Zhao crossed his arms and tilted his head, looking at Qin Fian with a sharp gaze. Me? Ha! Qin Fian listened to Jiang Zhao's questions. He suddenly felt that although the incident with Yi was a big blow to Jiang Zhao, this guy's perception of the outside world was still very high. You want to eat it? Jiang Zhao's eyebrows were like knives, filled with a cold aura. Ad. Xinwu 799. Chapter 576. Brother, you're so smart. I wanted to give you a surprise. Qin Fian smiled shamelessly. The coastline is in a good location. I've also checked the foundation of the building and the construction of the building. It's not a shoddy construction. Not only that, it's also considered a very good real estate project. So I think it's a good deal for me to buy it. Fian, you can't eat this plate. Because Yi Chen wants this plate. Qin Fian's voice was slightly stiff. This was not his usual attitude. It was not casual and unruly enough. The too serious Qin Fian was not suitable for such a flashy outfit. Although he was wearing a gray checkered suit, he wore a fruit green sweater, which made the gray a bright color. He knew that Zhuang Yichen and Zhuang Yichen had always been at odds with each other. The two brothers had been fighting for many years. As long as it was something that belonged to Zhuang Yichen would want to buy it. However, business was always about maximizing profits. There was no reason for him to give up such a big piece of fat meat. Besides, if it was an auction, it would be a fair competition. He always knew that Zhuang Yichen and Jiang Zhao had always been on good terms. Could it be that Jiang Zhao wanted to help Zhuang Yichen? Jiang Zhao said, "There's a big problem with this plate now. If you get it, I'm afraid you won't be able to clean up your mess in the future. Zhuang Yichen knows that you want this plate. He won't fight with you. But if you buy this plate now, not only will you give Zhuang Yichen a chance to make a comeback, you'll also spend more money. Why bother? Zhuang Yichen already wants to auction it now?" Qin Fian did not expect things to turn out this way. His information was considered rather secretive. He did not expect Zhuang Yifeng to already be thinking about the auction. The Zhuang family could not hold on anymore. Jiang Zhao nodded. Right now, his uncle is already under investigation. This plate is related to the secret connections of many government officials. Zhuang Yifeng couldn't have set up such a big plate on his own. Whether it's the supervisor or the planning department, everything is involved. If you take over this plate so quickly, that nest of wolf feces might stain your body. If you want to stain it, wait for me and Zhuang Yichen to clean it up before you do it. Otherwise, you won't even be able to spit it out when the time comes. Qin Fian was driving. Brother, why are you only telling me now? I never thought that you would be interested in Zhuang Yifeng's things. After all, you always knew that Yi Chen had always wanted to snatch Zhuang Yifeng's things. Yi Chen came to me about this matter. He said that he didn't want to get you into trouble because of his family matters. Regarding this matter, you should bide your time and not make a move first. Okay. Qin Fian licked his lips. Brother, do you need my help with Yi Chen's matter? Jiang Zhao shook his head. Don't butt in. I can't quit even if I want to. His matters are really King nerve-wracking. Because I was careless in making friends with him. I have to be careful about everything when dealing with his matters. It's fortunate that he has enough perseverance and ruthlessness. Otherwise, a bunch of bad guys would rush out and tear me into pieces. Qin Fian knew that Jiang Zhao was deliberately exaggerating. So he played along and said, "You can just cut ties with him." "Yeah, I have the same idea. Then I'll wait for him to report me, and say that I'm in cahoots with his official business. So he's so sinister. Ha ha. That's why I'll only set him up. Otherwise, I'll be at a loss. Qin Fian thought to himself, next time before I do something big, I'll have to discuss it with Jiang Zhao. Most of the information that I have came from this building. I want to make a big profit, but I almost got myself into trouble. Brother, when are you going to give me some benefits as a driver? Benefits? You still want that piece of land in 326? That piece of land was not only a thorn in Qin Fian's heart, it was also a thorn in Jiang Zhao's heart. He knew that Shi Yunwu was a person who knew how to hide, but after all, he was only 20 years old. He probably inherited Shi Zhentian's ruthlessness, or else he wouldn't have been able to tolerate it so well. However, he was so good at running a business. He had only been in Sea City for less than 3 years, and even when he was working at Shi Empire, he was a slacker. It was only a few months ago that he officially joined the Qin Group. Once he got in, he was already familiar with the hidden rules of China's government. He easily made connections and got that piece of land in 326 at a cheap price. After that, a series of people were fired and interrogated, but none of them dragged Shi Empire into it. They only said that there was a problem with their data when they were doing the report. When it came to data, it was possible for one person to make a mistake, but how was it possible for all of them to make a mistake? Based on his methods, it was possible that he could turn a piece of land into the king of the land. He was not to be underestimated. Qin Fian waved his hands and placed them back on the steering wheel. I'm not going to think about it anymore. The Shi family has taken it, so what else can I think about? Even if it's not the Shi family, it's a done deal, so it's pointless for me to think about it. How I've been having a bad year these past few months? Everything seems to go wrong. Ever since I took over the Qin Group, I haven't been as unlucky as I've been these past few months. I don't even know what I'm asking for. People in business like to worship the Lord Guan Yu, so naturally, they were superstitious. There were many superstitions among government officials as well. Jiang Zhao thought about it, and it did make sense. Fei Yin had always been a smart person. Fei Yin had mentioned that he wanted to buy that piece of land in 326 after the subway changed its route. Initially, he wanted to buy it for a cheap price to build a hotel, but then there was Shi Yunwu's conspiracy, so he was unable to buy it. The shoreline was a good place, but due to the complicated relationships between government officials and businessmen, he had to give it up. Fei Yin, why don't you go to Hong Kong and find a fortune teller? There's an 80% chance that something is wrong. Jiang Zhao paused. When the time comes, I'll go with you. I don't think things are going well for me either. Qin Fian nodded in agreement. Okay, when sister-in-law wakes up, we'll go together. After sending Jiang Zhao to the government office building, he turned around and left. As soon as Jiang Zhao arrived at the office, Lu Cheng came over and said, Boss, Dean Shun from the Procuratorate came looking for you. He's still in the lounge. I wanted to give you a call, but he said there was no need. He also said, Lu Cheng stopped and smiled. Jiang Zhao was not in the mood to joke around. Joking with Fei Yin was a different matter. It was just to comfort a family member. What else did he say? Lu Cheng shook his head and smiled helplessly. He said, since you're on time for work, if you dare to be late, he'll report you. He'll say you didn't show up or left your post without permission. When Jiang Zhao heard this, he couldn't help but laugh. I'll go invite him myself. Who knew that as soon as he said this, the office door was pushed open. Shun Kai was in a suit. When he saw Jiang Zhao, he smiled rudely and said, invite what? I'm here to catch the party atmosphere. Yo, I'm not late. Looks like if I want to extort you, I'll have to work a bit harder. Beauty novel Xinwu 799. Chapter 577. It's rare for Shun Kai to be so carefree when he enters the mayor's office. Jiang Zhao raised his eyebrows and said to Lu Cheng, help me pour a cup of coffee for Mr. Shun. Lu Cheng turned to Shun Kai, who had entered the office and was sitting on the sofa. Mr. Shun, do you want tea or coffee? Coffee. Your boss is too honest. That tea must be the 10 renminbi Qing tea. I don't want to drink it. Jiang Zhao smiled. Qing tea is very good. It's detoxifying. Shun Kai immediately shook his head and said, that won't do. I still have to keep the poison and fight poison with poison. Ha! Lu Cheng placed the coffee on a coffee table in front of Shun Kai and left. Shun Kai shrugged. Why did you come to work so early? It's not good to be so strict. You should give your subordinates a chance. If not, it will be too difficult for them to get promoted. You need to give this seat to them. Jiang Zhao walked to the reception area and took the cup of tea that Lu Cheng had brewed for him. He sat opposite Shun Kai and said, I will move my seat. You can go upstairs and find an empty seat for me. Ha! You can't just pull me down and let you sit up. Ha! It's hard to say. Shun Kai raised his eyebrows confidently. The corners of his mouth curled up into a smirk. He said the two words slowly. At this time, he held the coffee on the table in his hand. The tip of his nose wandered above the thick, white porcelain cup. His eyelashes drooped, and his gaze fell on the white smoke curling up from the coffee. He inhaled and took a sip with enjoyment. He couldn't help but praise, very good coffee. Where do these beans come from? If it were made by a better coffee maker, I'm afraid the taste would be even richer. After saying that, Shun Kai took another sip. Jiang Zhao knew Shun Kai was trying to change the topic. Grandpa's friend gave it to him. I don't even know who gave it to him. Grandpa doesn't drink coffee, so he gave it to us. If you like it, you can have it. I usually drink a lot of tea. Ha! That's not good, but I know you don't drink coffee. It's not like I'm taking it away from you. Jiang Zhao nodded. When did you become so polite? It's not like you. I can't help it. I've been in this circle for a while, and I've forgotten that I don't need to be polite with you. Haha. Then I'll take all of your beans away, not leaving a single one behind. Don't tell others that I robbed you. Oh, you are getting more and more powerful. Are you still afraid of people calling you a bandit? Ha! Don't mention what happened in the past. Don't mention it. After Shun Kai finished a cup of coffee, Jiang Zhao didn't ask him why he was here. They just had a simple chat. Shun Kai asked, Are you really calm, or are you just pretending? Why? You didn't hear anything? Jiang Zhao's eyes narrowed slightly as he asked, What rumor? Shun Kai placed both his hands on his knees, his 10 fingers drumming on his knees without any rhyme or reason. Right now, Yin Shicheng's case has been brought up again, and the higher-ups are paying attention to it. Furthermore, I specifically went to find out more about it, and someone handed over the information. Yin Shicheng's parole for medical treatment is more or less complete, and his body has already recovered. Furthermore, the government's authoritative hospital will conduct an examination on his body. Furthermore, the matters of his previous business dealings have all been dug up. In business, how many of them are pure and simple? More or less, they will interact with each other. Otherwise, how can they survive? I feel that someone wants to kill him. You really didn't hear anything about this? Jiang Zhao's eyes narrowed again. Then his brows furrowed. His originally relaxed posture became somewhat stiff. The things that appeared in his mind slowly emerged. I really didn't hear anything. You came to tell me about this, so I don't need to hide it from you. His thoughts were in a mess, but he still tried to organize them. He added, And you also know that the functions of the prosecutor's office are different from ours. On the surface, you guys are above the government, so it's normal that you know many things, but I don't. What's more, this matter is related to my father-in-law. It's clear that someone is avoiding my line of sight to do this. How could I have known this information in the first place? Shun Kai nodded, but he couldn't help but joke. You say that the prosecutor's office is amazing, but aren't they still enslaved by you guys? They are restricted everywhere. Jiang Zhao said, China's characteristics are currently at this stage. You and I can't change it. We can only adapt. How far has my father-in-law's case gone? Is it convenient for you to tell me? When Jiang Zhao asked this question, he was still very cautious. The prosecutor's office was not like other agencies. Many things were classified as confidential. His political status was also here. If Shun Kai clearly wanted to help him, naturally, he didn't have to worry. What if he set him up? If he asked about some of the prosecutor's office's secrets, wouldn't he be looking for trouble for himself? You're still so guarded against people. If I didn't plan to tell you, would there be any point in coming here early in the morning and failing to extort you? Shun Kai said unhappily, I'm not being guarded. I'm just afraid that it'll be difficult for you. Shun Kai shrugged and looked like he didn't care. What's difficult about it? Everyone is mutually beneficial. There's no such thing as difficult or not. I don't think I'm a good public servant, and I don't think you are either. We're just using these resources to benefit our families. At the same time, we're also using these resources to benefit the people of High City. The biggest advantage is that we're not considered heartless officials. At the very least, we're in our positions and have done our jobs. So it's more convenient to tell you some things. You're also very easy to understand. Jiang Zhao admired Shun Kai's straightforwardness. However, Shun Kai wasn't someone who was like this to everyone. He would only negotiate with you as quickly as possible when he had a clear understanding of the other party's trump card. This was because there was no need to probe too much. Shun Kai was a person who had very sharp eyes and was very efficient in doing things. Jiang Zhao asked, "Is there any way to salvage the situation?" The hospital Yi'er was in was a high-end private hospital, so the servants were sometimes a little relaxed. After all, what could happen in a place like this? Everything has a meter display. His mother was sleepy at noon, so she lay on the table by the window to sleep. Not long after, she fell asleep. The door of the ward wasn't locked from the inside. A nurse in a pink nurse's uniform lowered her head and pushed a trolley into the room. This nurse looked taller than the average nurse. Although she was thin, her frame wasn't small. Her facial features were a little stiff, and she looked a little awkward. The two-tier trolley stopped at the head of Yi'er's bed. The nurse glanced at the 4-bag. Although there was still half a bag of 4 fluid left, she removed the 4-bag with a cold look in her eyes. She placed the remaining 4-bag on a white porcelain tray in the trolley and hung the 4-bag from the other tray on the tray. After hanging the 4-bag, she looked at the woman lying on the bed, whose eyelashes didn't move at all. The corners of her mouth curled up ferociously. She reached out and touched the rollers to adjust the flow to the maximum. Then, she turned around indifferently and pushed the trolley out of the ward. His father was woken up by a series of clanking sounds. When he woke up, he rubbed his eyes. "What's that sound?" Then, he heard someone vomiting. It sounded like someone was in pain. When he turned around and found the source of the sound, he was scared half to death. Yi'er's eyes were closed. Her face was covered in fine beads of sweat. She kept vomiting and convulsing. What came out her mouth was sticky white fluid. The fluid flowed down her cheeks and chin. Her hair and neck were all wet. There was also a large wet patch on her pillow. Her body probably moved because of the movement from vomiting. The 4-stand beside her had fallen over. The needle on the back of her hand was bleeding. Her hand was hanging by the side of the bed. Blood dripped down. It was just a needle hole. Why was there so much blood? Was the wound strained by the needle? She quickly ran over to get a towel to clean up the vomit. As she shouted for the nurse, she took out her phone and called Jiang Zhao. When she called, she was trembling in fear. She knew that Jiang Zhao probably wanted to kill someone. Her voice trembled and sounded like she was about to cry. "Young Master Zhao, it's bad. It's bad. Young Madam is in big trouble." Jiang Zhao was talking to Shun Kai when his phone rang. He looked at the number and raised his phone gently. He said to Shun Kai, "I'll take this call first." Shun Kai raised his hand and said, "It's okay. You take it first." When the call was picked up, it was the familiar voice of his mother, but she was already crying. "Young Master Zhao, it's bad. It's bad. Young Madam is in big trouble. She's vomiting and convulsing." He just told Shinkai that it was an emergency and ran out of the building. He went straight to the parking lot to get his car and rushed onto the road. As he drove, he called to ask about the situation. How long had he been gone? His hands held the steering wheel as if he was holding the neck of his mother. He always told them to be careful. How could she be so careless when she went to sleep without informing the nurse? A mother who had served the Qin family for 20 years was actually so careless. A person who was already unconscious was sent to the emergency room again. What kind of F***king life was this? Was this still a life for humans? He sucked in a long, trembling breath with all his might. Yinyi, you're the F***king jinx in my life. You were born just to subdue me. Can't you just let me live in peace for a single day? Of all the people you could drug, you had to find me. Of all the people you could find to sleep with, you had to find me. I owed you my past life. I F***king owe you. After he finished cursing, he punched the steering wheel hard. The loudspeaker raised its head to the sky and let out a long cry, expressing its owner's grief and anger. He owed her. That was why she tortured him like this. She tortured him so much that he wished he had never known her. If he had never known her, he wouldn't have to live in fear all day long. If he hadn't known her, he wouldn't have to be like this. He couldn't calm down and do anything. He was still so young. He could already see the end of his career. It was all because of her. She dragged down her family alone and almost dragged him down. But she was already about to drag him down, and he still King went to the dark side to solve a bunch of problems in her family. He owed her. That was why he was so stupid as to willingly jump in her fire pit. Now that he was burning all over, he still King refused to come out of the fire pit. He was already so miserable, but she still couldn't lie down properly. What did she want to do? She wanted to torture him until he went crazy. She would be satisfied. This Mn woman. She would never let him have peace of mind. Jiang Zhao sniffed. He didn't care about the traffic lights. God must be joking with him. A person who only relied on nutrient solutions to stay alive was still in the emergency room? What a joke. He was already like this. Why was he still in the emergency room? He punched the steering wheel again. Just then, a pedestrian crossed the zebra crossing. Hearing the horn, he immediately retracted his foot that was about to run the red light. Jiang Zhao drove the car and rushed over the zebra crossing. He spat. Are you colorblind? You don't even look at the traffic lights? You're courting death. The car drove into the outpatient clinic building. He didn't park in the parking lot. He left it at the entrance and rushed into the building. He pressed the elevator. 4th floor, emergency room. When the old lady saw Jiang Zhao running over, she immediately cried. She didn't have much feelings for Yi, but she had watched Jiang Zhao grow up. At this time, she cried out of fear and her heart ached for Jiang Zhao's appearance. He clearly looked meticulous, but no matter how you looked at him, he looked disheveled. Her tears gushed out. Young Master Zhao, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Jiang Zhao rushed to the emergency room door and asked the nurse at the door, How is it? The doctor is not out yet. He still doesn't know the situation. When he heard this, he vented all his anger on the nurse, who had been taking care of him since he was a teenager. His voice was like a fire burning in his throat. You don't know the situation? If you don't know the situation, why don't you go in and ask? Why are you still standing here? Mayor Jiang, lower your voice. The nurse was scolded by Jiang Zhao, and she could only persuade him softly. Qin Zhen and Qin Fian arrived one after another. The Qin family's old lady status was not low, and the Qin family had always respected the servants. But Qin Zhen could not help but scold her. Shaoli, you have been working for the Qin family for more than 20 years. How can you be so foolish? Have you forgotten your responsibilities? The old lady was in her 40s, but she looked much older than Qin Zhen. She must be very tired. I also don't know why I felt so sleepy today. I am not used to taking afternoon naps in the past. Actually, I did not do anything today, but I was so sleepy that I could not open my eyes. My head was on the table. I wanted to sleep. Although Qin Zhen was young, she was also in her 50s. When she was stern, she would scold her. Stop looking for excuses. You caused such a big mistake, and you still want to find excuses. Qin Fian pulled the agitated Jiang Zhao back. He wanted to distract him. Over the phone, Annie Lee said that sister-in-law kept vomiting and even pulled down the four-stand. Brother, wasn't sister-in-law unconscious all this while? How could she pull down the four-stand and vomit? What's wrong with her? Jiang Zhao rubbed his face. I don't know. When he let go of Feng Yu, he stared at the nurse at the door of the emergency room. What's the reason? Even if our helpers did not notice the patient's abnormality in time, you all still don't know what's wrong with her? The nurse did not know what was going on. She was still in the emergency room, and they did not know what was going on. She explained timidly. Mayor Jiang, I don't know. It's true. I'm just waiting here to inform the attending doctor or run errands to the blood bank. But from Mrs. Zhang's reaction, I feel that she should be resisting the medication. The nurse was not very experienced, and she quickly told Feng Yu what she thought. Jiang Zhao immediately turned and looked at Qin Fian. Qin Fian quickly ran to the hospital and found Yi Er's ward. There were still bags of medication on the floor. Maybe they did not have time to clean up the mess earlier. Feng Yu took the list of medication from the bookshelf at the end of the bed and compared it with the medicine bottle on the table. He repeated the same thing twice and took out his phone to take a photo of the list and the medicine bag. Returning to the resuscitation room, he told Jiang Zhao about some of the abnormalities he had discovered. Jiang Zhao raised his hand and pressed against his forehead. The door of the emergency room suddenly opened, and Jiang Zhao regained his senses. He walked over and stood in front of the doctor. The doctor was wearing latex gloves, a blue disposable cap, and a surgical mask. He asked coldly, "What's the reason?" The doctor looked at Jiang Zhao. "I'm not sure yet. I need to verify with the nurse on duty." Verification? Verification of what? Verification of the wrong medication that caused my wife to vomit. Jiang Zhao did not say anything and grabbed the doctor's scrubs and dragged him out of the operating room. Qin Fian hugged Jiang Zhao again to stop him from hitting the doctor. "Brother, now is not the time to create trouble. We need to make sure that sister-in-law is out of danger. We will not let this matter rest so easily. But now is not the time to create trouble. Keep quiet." The hospital was afraid of medical accidents, and they wanted to cover it up. But now, they could not cover it up anymore. In the end, they could only say, the patient was injected with papaverine hydrochloride, which can accelerate the dilation of blood vessels. This type of fluid is used to treat heart and brain diseases. Mrs. Zhang's prescription does not include this type of medicine. I am about to tell the nurse about this. Mayor Jiang, please let me speak. The doctor looked at the nurse at the door. Call the head nurse over. What Jiang Zhao had was brute force. Right now, he felt like he was a person who had been forcefully injected with some kind of evil force. He could not control this kind of power, and if he did not vent it out, he would go berserk and die a horrible death. But Qin Fian also used his strength to control him. Mayor Jiang, Mrs. Jiang is fine now. Although the wrong medication had caused her to vomit, luckily, she was rescued in time. She might wake up because of her reaction. Jiang Zhao, who was being hugged by Qin Fian, was stunned. The evil energy in his body seemed to be controlled temporarily. He looked at the doctor and asked, "Is what you said true?" The doctor was frightened by Jiang Zhao's action just now, but he still had to maintain the calmness that a doctor should have. He just took a step back without leaving a trace. He was intimidated by Jiang Zhao's pressure and took another step back. Mayor Jiang, Mrs. Jiang had been injected with the wrong medication. This medication is used to dilate the blood vessels of patients with cardiovascular diseases. Using the wrong medication will cause the patient to reject the medication. But it was this rejection that caused the patient to have a strong reaction. This reaction might cause the patient to wake up. Just now, the patient could speak and her limbs were moving. This means that she is no longer in a coma. Jiang Zhao was surprised when he heard what the doctor said. He was surprised that Yi Er was going to wake up, but the more he listened, the more he felt something was not right. What was wrong? The doctor seemed to be avoiding the main point. What did rejection mean? It was like a person who did not feel anything. If he gave her an electric shock, she would jump a little. Can this be considered waking her up? Jiang Zhao was angered by the way the doctor spoke. But Qin Fian did not want to let go. Qin Fian naturally wouldn't let go. There was already a doctor inside who was being treated. If they fought at this time and hurt a doctor, it would be troublesome. But when he turned his head, he saw Qin Zhen holding her hand and looking at them with a cold face. She didn't say a word and didn't have any intention of persuading them. Qin Fian was puzzled. Was he being a busybody? Looking at his aunt's expression, she was letting Jiang Zhao to fight. Or was his aunt confident that he could handle this situation? She was like a mother who did not do anything for her son. This was her biological son. Her biological son was about to go crazy. How could she calmly stand aside and watch the show? Qin Zhen met Qin Fian's eyes, raised her chin, and pouted. Let go. His aunt actually told him to let go. After releasing her, she immediately dodged to Qin Zhen's side. Without turning around, she heard the sound of a fist hitting someone's stomach from behind. She pretended not to see anything. The young nurse went to inform the head nurse. Other than a few of them, there was no one else in the corridor. Aunt, what do you mean by this? Qin sighed and glanced at her son, who was hitting someone. She looked calmly at Qin Fian and said softly, Fian, you have to find a chance to let your brother vent. He is too repressed. At this time, his stomach is full of anger and dissatisfaction. If you don't let him vent, he will get sick. Qin won't say a word about it. But if Zhao Zhao wants to hit someone for no reason, I will definitely ask you to stop it. As you can see, it was caused by the hospital. It's not entirely our fault. He is now an ordinary patient's family member. His emotions should be as they are now, and he shouldn't be like how he was in the past, showing everything to others. Just now, I didn't say anything and didn't care about anything. I just wanted him to find a chance to vent. He is like a human now, don't you think? Sometimes, I feel that he has chosen the wrong path to enter politics. How can anyone be as glamorous as him, to the point where no one can find any fault with him? Qin Fian only listened to the suppressed wailing behind him. He nodded and said guiltily, I should have thought of it. Qin took another look at the scene of Jiang Zhao hitting someone. She simply turned her back and chose to be parallel to Qin Fian. Looking at the other end of the corridor, she sniffed and said, I've been feeling very uncomfortable these days. Zhao Zhao wants to stay here. I can't say anything. He has to pretend that nothing happened to him to appease his family members, especially Yun Hongwei and Si Jia. Yun Hongwei actually knows about Zhao Zhao's difficulties, so no matter how much pain he is in, he tries not to show it in front of Zhao Zhao. They're all crazy. They're all pretending. They even have to tell each other that it is okay. I saw it the most clearly. Yun Hongwei patted Zhao Zhao's shoulder several times and told him not to worry. Whenever he turned around, he would secretly wipe away his tears. He also has to make up lies to deceive Si Jia every day. I want to find a chance for them to vent. Zhao Zhao is venting today. When he comes out, I'm afraid Yun Hongwei has already suffered internal injuries. Qin Fian stretched out his arm and put it on Qin Jun's shoulder. He was still a little worried. Aunt, we don't care about losing money, but it won't kill anyone, right? After all, I can't control my rationality now. I don't know what's important. Unexpectedly, Qin Jun said heartlessly, so this is the key moment to show that we are brothers. Whether or not someone dies is in your hands. Zhao Zhao is not rational, but you are. Qin Fian loosened his hand on Qin Jun's arm. F***CK. Aunt. Qin Jun slowly opened her handbag and took out a piece of tissue to wipe the tears from the corner of her eyes. She was very calm. Don't rely on me. When did you start to swear? Don't you know that you can't use these second-rate words in front of your elders? I will take Xiao Li to stand there for a while. You watch over him. Qin Fian took off his glasses from his face. He really wanted to smash them. How could there be an aunt like Qin Jun in this world? How could there be a mother like Yu Jing? His calmness disappeared. He hurriedly turned around and ran to pull Jiang Zhao away, forbidding him from using violence against the doctor. Qin Fian felt that he was screwed miserably by Qin Jun today. In the end, if something happened to Jiang Zhao, it would definitely be his fault as a brother for not knowing his limits. As an elder brother, his impulsiveness covered his rationality. As a younger brother, he should be clear-headed, right? As a brother, he didn't come out to help at this time. What was this? Well, in the end, it was all his fault. The moral integrity of the people in the high-end private hospital was so high. When they heard that someone was fighting and crying out in pain, no one came out to help. They really respected people's privacy. However, who asked this doctor to hold back and not dare to cry out loudly? He was so angry. He had to hurry to Hong Kong and find a fortune teller. Otherwise, he didn't know how long his bad luck would last this year. After pulling Jiang Zhao back, Qin Fian could only deal with the aftermath like an old mother. He pressed the emergency bell on the wall and waited for the nurse to come and pull the injured doctor away. Jiang Zhao shook his fist. Qin Fian asked, "Have you had your fun?" "No," Jiang Zhao said. "Then I'll spar with you tonight." Jiang Zhao rolled his eyes at Qin Fian. "Sure, if I hurt you, Beauty, you will definitely take a private plane back to take revenge for you. Then, she won't let me fight back. She said something about elders not being allowed to return their hands, right? Were you scheming, kid? Haha. So, let's go to the arena tonight to compete. I'm as free as you. Jiang Zhao's tone was unpleasant. Qin Fian could only give up. Forget it, he couldn't tease this guy. Actually, this fight didn't last long because the young nurse found the head nurse and brought him to the emergency room for only 3 minutes. When Qin Fian helped Jiang Zhao sit on the bench, the head nurse trotted over. Qin Fian and his mother were still standing far away. He thought to himself that he wouldn't fall for it this time. If the head nurse came over and Jiang Zhao blamed the head nurse for the medicinal liquid incident, it would be troublesome. How many punches could a woman take from Jiang Zhao? He should have known long ago that this aunt had always been a black-bellied person. She said such sad and tear-jerking words, but in the end, she even acted as a good person. The responsibility was all on him, Qin Fian. He didn't know if there was anyone in the Qin family who was truly pure, except for Fei Yu. The purest Fei Yu wouldn't be like these guys. The head nurse helped the doctor stand up. She looked at Jiang Zhao's action of shaking his hand and thought about what the young nurse had said to her along the way. She immediately understood. As soon as Jiang Zhao stood up, Qin Fian immediately put his arm around his shoulder like a brother, in case Jiang Zhao really hit the head nurse. Soon, someone came over to help the injured doctor away. The doctor refused to admit that he had been hit by Jiang Zhao. Qin Fian let out a sigh of relief. It was good that the doctor knew his place. Otherwise, although it would be more troublesome to deal with later, the doctor wouldn't be able to say anything good. When Xia Qian and Xiu Xiaoya arrived, Jiang Zhao was coldly questioning the head nurse with a dark expression. How did you manage the distribution of the medicinal liquid? How could my wife's bag be wrong? Jiang Zhao's voice grew louder as he spoke. You're holding a fresh life in your hands. Don't you know that you're disregarding human life by simply giving it to the patient? My wife was already unconscious, and all of you gave her the medicinal liquid meant for people with cardiovascular problems. What's wrong with that? She was so agitated that she vomited, and her blood was flowing rapidly. Is this considered as having a reaction? All of you are trying to kill her. Mayor Jiang, please calm down. We will definitely find a solution. Furthermore, this matter has not been investigated thoroughly, and it's not right for you to jump to conclusions. The patient's condition is not good, and anything can happen. We are a hospital, and our job is to save lives. But we cannot guarantee that everyone who enters the hospital will be discharged safely. But our hospital will do a report and give you a satisfactory answer. The head nurse was a little self-righteous. She also used the official tone that a hospital should have. She could have used a softer tone, but her tone and choice of words were clearly a little sharp. Besides, she also had relatives in the municipal party committee. What was she afraid of? Qin Fian held on to Jiang Zhao, whose veins were twitching. But he did not hold back Xiu Xiaoya, who had just walked over from behind. Pia! A slap landed on the head nurse's face. The head nurse immediately covered her face. This was a private hospital, and anything could happen. But this woman in front of her had slapped her, and she did not dare to slap her back. Xiu Xiaoya was wearing a pair of 8-inch high heels, a short black silk skirt in winter, and a coat over it. Her fashionable black satin short hair was tucked behind her ears, revealing a charming face. Her expression was cold as she crossed her arms in front of her chest and snorted. What did you say? Who are you saying is jumping to conclusions? Even I, who had just arrived, know what happened, and you are still saying that this matter is not clear? Tell me, what should I do to make this matter clear? You said that the patient's condition is not good, so anything can happen to her? Is it normal for her to vomit after receiving the wrong medicine? Attention Songshu 566. Chapter 578. Xia Qian, come here. Tell the head nurse what she said just now. Which of those words are wrong? Which ones are not pleasant to hear? Xiaoya looked at the head nurse. Don't glare at me like that. Don't try to reason with me. I don't want to reason with you right now. If you have the guts, try and slap me back. Xiaoya didn't know why she was so angry today. Perhaps she really hoped that the head nurse would be proud enough to slap her back. She really wanted to know if that person would rush out to avenge her if she was slapped outside. Sai, what was she thinking? Qin Fian was stunned. Women were indeed impressive. Well, it was true that he couldn't let Jiang Zhao do this. Qiu Xiaoyu didn't have much strength. At most, she would only leave a few fingerprints. He then looked at Xia Qian, who was standing behind Xiaoya. He suddenly thought of stinky tofu and wanted to vomit. Jiang Zhao's emotions also calmed down a little. Qin Zhen, who was watching from a distance, said to the old lady, "What a fierce girl. She's quite likable." Xia Qian, who was dressed casually, walked over to the head nurse with her phone in hand. Compared to Xiaoya's arrogance, Xia Qian appeared calm and cultured. She smiled, but she didn't want to smile at all. She couldn't smile. Just now, she happily ran to the ward to look for Yi Er, only to find the room in a mess. Ever since Yi Er's accident, she and her sister came over almost every day to check on Yi Er's condition. Although she hadn't changed for the better, at least she hadn't changed for the worse. Yi Er had told her that she used to be very good at dancing and had won a few awards. Although they had never seen Yi Er dance properly after they started hanging out, she still believed that she had the talent. So every time she came over, she would bring her some songs to listen to. However, she was afraid that Jiang Zhao would say that she was meddlesome, so she always chased Jiang Zhao out of the ward. When she was alone with Yi Er, she would put her MP3 earphones into Yi Er's ears and put one in herself. At this time, she could fully display her ability as a host. She would listen to the music while telling Yi Er's story. At which part of the music, Liang Shanbo discovered Zhu Yingtai's secret. At which part, Liang Shanbo died. When did he turn into a butterfly? She always felt that she had the ability to help Yi Er wake up faster. Yi Er was a lonely person. She knew that Yi Er needed friends. She had always known that Jiang Zhao did not like her in the past, but Yi Er would always protect her image in front of Jiang Zhao. Perhaps this was what friends were like. Yi Er was kidnapped and injured. Although the people outside didn't know, she still knew. As Yi Er's friend, she hoped that it would get better soon. During this period of time, she came over almost every day, but the person lying on the bed was gone. When she asked the nurse, she was told that the patient had been sent to the emergency room for a while. She was anxious and angry. She did not believe it at first. How could it be? A person who slept like a pig was sent to the emergency room. She felt that if her thoughts continued to drift, she would be so angry that she would hit someone like her sister. That wasn't very good. Hitting someone was wrong. Since someone had become the bad guy, she could only step out and be the good guy. She suddenly felt that she was very smart at critical moments. She wasn't stupid at all. She looked at the head nurse and smiled politely. "I'm sorry, my phone was recording just now. You said that you did not investigate this matter clearly. But from what we heard from Mayor Jiang, we know that your hospital had used the 4 solution for the cardiovascular patient as a nutrient solution for the unconscious Mrs. Jiang. This is the truth. If you say that this is not the truth, then Mayor Jiang is slandering your hospital. What do you think? Is Mayor Jiang telling the truth or slandering your hospital?" The head nurse was stunned. She did not dare to say anything. This was a recording. Who were these people? She knew Qiu Xiaoya. She was a famous fashion designer. These few years, she was very arrogant in High City. No one knew who was backing her. But who was this Xia Qian? If she admitted that this was the truth, it would mean that there was a medical malpractice in the hospital. But if she denied, it would be slandering Mayor Jiang. The head nurse felt that she was in a difficult position. You can't just listen to one side of the story. Xia Qian continued. You think that Mayor Jiang is only telling one side of the story? Are you saying that he is slandering you? He is now a patient's family member. No matter if he is questioning you, you should not reply to him with that attitude. Don't say that his wife is in trouble. Mrs. Jiang is also our friend. When she heard your explanation, she was also furious. My sister said that what you said is not right and not nice to hear. From my point of view, what you said is not right and not nice to hear. The head nurse was not afraid of Jiang Zhao earlier because she felt that she had relatives in the municipal party committee and Jiang Zhao would not dare to do anything rash. But now, these 2 girls were making her speechless. She did not know how to answer them. If she did not answer them, it would mean that she was admitting to it. No, She cannot stay here any longer. She needs to find someone who has the right to speak. She cannot bear the responsibility of spouting nonsense. The door of the emergency room was opened again. The soundproofing inside was very good. Those who wanted to go in had to ring the bell. This way, the doctors could focus on saving the patient. Those who came out did not know what had happened outside. When the person saw Jiang Zhao, he pulled down his mask. It was the deputy director of the hospital. He said politely, "Mayor Jiang, you are here. Mrs. Jiang's condition is good now. She has regained consciousness. But because she was given the wrong medicine, we still need to observe her for a while. I have to find out the truth about this matter." He looked at the head nurse who had finger marks on her face and frowned. "The head nurse is here. Call the nurse who was on duty to give Mrs. Jiang the 4-drip to the office." Jiang Zhao walked over and did not pursue the matter of the medicine. He asked the deputy director, "She's awake? Is it similar to the final radiance of the setting sun?" When Xia Qian heard this, her heart skipped a beat. She looked at Xiaoya in panic. Xiaoya pulled her hand. "Don't worry. Xia Qian's friend must be a cat with 9 lives. Sister, you should speak more pleasantly during this period of time." Xia Fian followed beside Jiang Zhao, who was thinking too much. He asked the deputy director, "When will the situation be stable? We will send the patient back to the ward later. You can go and prepare some porridge for the patient. She could drink it today." Jiang Zhao was happy. He could not help but laugh foolishly. Finally, Yi Er could drink porridge. There were no other wards on this floor. It was very quiet. Sometimes it was so quiet that there were echoes. Qin Jin heard it clearly and immediately pushed her mother. "Xiaoli, hurry up and go back to prepare. Hurry up and make up for your mistake." Her mother ran away quickly. As she ran, she said excitedly, I know. The deputy director retreated again and closed the door of the emergency room. Jiang Zhao looked at Xiaoya and said gently, "Xiaoya, why are you here so early today?" Xiaoya smiled. Luo, Qinqian, she insisted that she heard a very good piece of music and that she could dance a very elegant tango dance. She said that Yi Er likes to dance. Every time she comes over, she would play some music for Yi Er. It's good for Yi Er's recovery. The music she played before was relatively light. She had never tried the tango dance before. Maybe Yi Er would not be able to help but kick her feet when she heard it. She thought that since she had to come over every day, she might as well come earlier today. Who knew she would run into this? Jiang Zhao's heart ached. He reached out and patted Xia Qian's shoulder. "Qian, you're so considerate." Xia Qian shrank back. She scratched her head. "Jiang Zhao, don't be like this. The way you talk to me these days is so nice that it makes my hair stand on end. Do you have masochistic tendencies?" Qin Fian could not help but spit. His beautiful phoenix eyes looked at Xia Qian with disdain. "You feel uncomfortable just because I'm nice to you." Xia Qian sighed. If it were not for the fact that the current atmosphere was not suitable for a fight, she would have kicked Qin Feifong. Forget it, she would not kick him. He was so beautiful. If she kicked him, it would make it seem like he did not know how to be gentle with women. Xia Qian shamelessly walked over to Qin Fian. She knew that Qin Fian was afraid of being touched by women. At least, every time she touched him, his whole body would tense up, and he would be abnormally vigilant. However, the more vigilant he was, the more excited she became. With this thought, she took the opportunity to fall into his arms. She reached out and hooked her arms around Qin Fian's neck. In a coquettish voice, she said, "Then be nicer to me. If you're nicer to me, maybe I won't be so creepy. I'll be flattered." Qin Fian suddenly pulled Xia Qian's hand away and took a step back. "You pervert, stay away from me." Xia Qian stumbled and almost fell to the ground. Xiaoya hurriedly ran over in her high heels to support Xia Qian. She glared at Qin Fian. "Are you a man? You bully our Qian all the time. What's wrong with leaning on you? Are you made of gold? Can I touch you?" After scolding him, she snorted. "You're so annoying." She first scolded Qin Fian, then scolded Xia Qian in a low voice. "You can tell me what kind of man you like. At most, you'll have to spend money. I'll treat you like a master. Do you have to suffer like this? What kind of man can't you touch? Why must you touch someone like this?" The words, "Why must you touch someone like this?" were clearly hinting at something. They were full of sarcasm and contempt. Qin Fian wanted to stomp his feet, but he glanced at Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao shook his head, indicating that he shouldn't quarrel with Xiaoya. Jiang Zhao didn't realize that ever since Xiaoya and Xia Qian arrived, he had unknowingly relaxed a lot. The door to the emergency room opened for the third time. This time, the bed was pushed out. He didn't notice that there were a few doctors and nurses. He just walked over, held the side of the bed, and touched the woman's face. He watched her mouth open and close. When he heard what she said, he burst into laughter. He reached out and pinched the tip of the woman's nose. "Are you a pig? The doctor said you can only drink rice soup. I want to eat meat. I vomited so much just now." Jiang Zhao didn't expect Yi Er to mumble this over and over again. Although he was a little disappointed that the first thing she asked about when she woke up was not him, he was relieved that she wanted to eat. It was good that she woke up. At least she could tell him what she was thinking. "Are you a pig? The doctor said you can only drink rice soup. Come and see." Hongsha 866. Chapter 579. After Qin Zhen asked her mother to go back to get the rice soup, she quickly walked over to Jiang Zhao. She wanted to check on Yi Er's condition, but when she saw that Jiang Zhao had completely forgotten himself, she immediately dismissed the idea of interfering. Instead, she grabbed Qin Fian's hand. Qin Fian had been following Jiang Zhao the whole time. Now that he was pulled, he snapped back to reality. Seeing that Qin Zhen was pulling him, Qin Fian took a step back. "Andy, what's wrong?" Qin Zhen looked at her son and turned around. "Fian, later on, go and deal with the matter of today's medicine. While you're at it, send Yi Er's friend off. Yi Er has woken up, but let Jiang Zhao be alone with her for a while. I really can't bear to disturb him." Qin Fian was in a difficult position. Wasn't Auntie chasing away the visiting guests? But although he didn't like Xia Qian, she was still Yi Er's friend. She had genuinely come to visit, and even his brother had expressed his gratitude. They can understand. Now it seems that Yi Er has something to say. Let the two of them talk. The rest of US should stay away. You know that I've always been very open-minded. After Qin Zhen finished speaking, she smiled warmly at Xiaoya. Xiaoya immediately understood. "Then Annie, please help us tell Jiang Zhao that we'll come over tomorrow." Qin Zhen's smile widened. "Thank you for your understanding." Xiaoya said, It's fine. However, Xia Qian lowered her head unhappily. How could these rich people be like this? None of them were as good as Yi Er. She had come to visit Yi Er out of goodwill, but she wasn't allowed to go to the ward. Today, she had even specially brought along some good songs. Qin Fian said to Qin Zhen, "Since that's the case, you can go with me and leave later." Qin Fian, Xia Qian, and Xiaoya followed them all the way to the elevator. They watched as Qin Zhen and Jiang Zhao pushed the hospital bed into the elevator and waved at them. When the elevator doors closed, Qin Fian said to Xiaoya, "Miss Chiu, I'm really sorry. My aunt didn't mean any harm." Xiaoya waved her hand. "President Qin, you don't have to be so polite. Annie's heart aches for Jiang Zhao. Yi Er has just woken up, so we really shouldn't disturb her. There are some things that are inconvenient for people to say when we're around." She didn't mean to be polite at all. She really did think so. Looking at Jiang Zhao, he knew that they had endless things to talk about. Qin Fian clenched his fists. "Don't call me President Qin. Just call me Fian." That man with the surname Qin really suffered a loss as a boss. Once he called him that, he became an affectionate person. "Haha. Okay, Xiaoya replied. "Sis, are we really leaving? Yi Er hasn't even listened to the song that I brought." Xia Qian was still a little unwilling. She didn't hear what Qin Fian said at all. She only thought that her thoughts hadn't been verified yet and was very conflicted. "You child, don't you know what it means to be a third wheel?" Xiaoya reached out and poked Xia Qian's forehead. Jiang Zhao's mother was already so old, yet she understood this principle. She even knew to send people away so that her son's hurt heart could be comforted. How could this young woman be so ignorant? Was she going backward the more she learned? Xia Qian lowered her head and rubbed the part of her head that Xiaoya had poked. "I know. Let's go. Yi is now being forced to choose the opposite sex over her humanity. I don't blame her. If Yi was awake, she definitely wouldn't do this. Even if she hid from Jiang Zhao, she would still hang out with them. Yi was very loyal. Umph. If you're good friends, you have to give them some space to be alone. Why are you blaming her? Really? Xiaoya reached out and pressed the elevator button. While waiting for the elevator, she said to Qin Fian with fake politeness, "Young Master Fian, you can go do your own things. Xia Qian and I will leave first." After all, the few times they met, they got along with each other with some hostility. She couldn't just ignore it because of a little reason. The fake politeness was also because Qin Fian expressed his goodwill first. She wouldn't call him Fian so intimately. Who asked this man to be so unfriendly to her sister every time? "My aunt asked me to send you guys off," Qin Fian said. "There's no need. We drove." Qin Fian wanted to sneeze, but felt that it was very impolite. He took out a handkerchief from his trouser pocket. It was an exquisite English checkered handkerchief. He put it on his nose and elegantly rubbed his itchy nose. When he felt that it wasn't so itchy anymore, he put the handkerchief back in his trouser pocket and said to Xiaoya, "Then I'm sorry." He didn't have any intention to continue being polite. It was as if he was just going with the flow. Xia Qian frowned in disdain. Hypocrite. How fake was this guy to say something like that? It was just like attending a wedding. At a wedding, you send a red packet and the other party will reject it. You don't need it. You could just come. But the strength of the push was like Tai Chi. If they don't want it, then don't put the red packet into the bride and groom's pocket. If they accept it, then accept it. Why did he have to fake politeness? "Oh, you really want me to send you off?" Qin Fian put his hands in his trouser pockets and raised his eyebrows. His devilish face bloomed with a charming smile. At this moment, the elevator came up. He let the woman enter the elevator first and followed in. He reached out and pressed the one button. The wall in the elevator was as bright as a mirror. He looked at Xia Qian's reflection in the mirror and said with a smile, "I didn't expect you to really want me to send you off. But you already said that you don't want to send you off." "Xia Qian, not you think so?" Xia Qian shrugged and deliberately raised her chin to show off her assets. She shook her beautiful hair and looked at the man in the mirror with an arrogant smile. "You think too much. Although you changed your mind and wanted to send me off, I have a car. So I don't need you. You should drive your car to the various nightclubs and wait for the fierce attacks. Those are more valuable." Xia Qian felt that in front of a rich young master like Qin Fian, it was very important that she didn't have a car. She had to say it out loud. His car was a car with 4 wheels. Her car was also a car with 4 wheels. There wasn't much difference between them. Don't think that young master is so great just because he comes from a rich family. She didn't believe that his 4 wheels could be used as a rocket. "Little guy," Xiaoya chuckled. She never stopped Xia Qian from causing trouble outside, because Xia Qian wouldn't cause too much trouble. She was the elder sister. An elder sister's role was to protect her younger sister. She was to protect her younger sister at all times. She even indulged and spoiled her younger sister. Xiaoya had always been doing this. It was just that Xia Qian was very sensible and hadn't caused any trouble that she couldn't clean up. Qin Fian reached out and rubbed his eyebrows. This woman, if she wanted to ridicule him, she couldn't come up with something new. He didn't even want to talk nonsense with this kind of woman. She wasn't even as cute as the beauties in his company. He raised his wrist and turned it, revealing a pure gold watch band. He tilted his wrist inwards so that the surface was facing him. The people around him could see the sparkling diamond. Qin Fian looked at the time. The elevator had just reached the first floor. He said, "Miss and Miss, goodbye." Then he strode out. Xia Qian looked at Qin Fian's tall back and rolled her eyes. She said to Xiaoya, "Sis, look at him. I've never seen such an arrogant gay." "So what if he's gay?" "Haha. Shouldn't he be arrogant? Have you ever seen a rich young master wearing a fake watch? Shouldn't a rich young master who dares to wear a fake watch everywhere be arrogant? I don't think there's any young master in Haiqing who dares to wear a fake watch so confidently like him." Xiaoya couldn't help but look at Qin Fian's back and sigh. He clearly looks like a bottom, but look at the way he walks. He's not bashful at all. He's confident and at ease. His steps are powerful and steady. He's clearly a top. I feel like I'm falling apart when I look at him like a bottom. Xiaoya hooked her arm around Xia Qian's arm and lifted the collar of her coat. They were about to leave the hospital, and there was some wind blowing in. She had to hurry to the car and turn on the air conditioner. Clothes were supposed to be beautiful and moving. If she stood in the wind for too long in the winter, she would probably only be beautiful and cold. Top or bottom? This was Xia Qian's favorite topic. She even felt that this was a topic with great academic research value. She really wanted to do an in-depth research on this topic for Qin Fian. Yeah, I think he's a top 2. He's really muscular and has a great figure. She felt that her conversation had deviated a little. The topic just now was clearly more explosive. A fake watch. She turned her face in shock and looked at Xiaoya as if she had seen an alien. That's impossible. Why would a member of the Qin family wear a fake watch? He wouldn't wear a fake watch even if it cost 10 million yuan, let alone hundreds of thousands or millions of yuan. This is too embarrassing. Xia Qian was indeed very stupid most of the time, so her thoughts immediately rose to another level and reached an absolute height. She frowned and sighed. What does it mean for a rich young master from such a big family to wear a fake watch? Does it mean that a bottom like Qin Fian is a bottom who knows how to live a good life? They're both watches, but in this bottom's eyes, it's just looking at the time. No matter how expensive a watch is, it can't be used for 25 hours a day. Since it can't use the extra time, it's no different from an ordinary computer monitor or phone. So, after much consideration, Qin Fian chose a fake watch. Not only does it give him face outside, but it's also economical. The money he saves can be given to Mr. Dezong to spend. Isn't it the best of both worlds? After Xiaoya heard this, she bent her leg and kicked Xia Qian's, but in an unladylike manner. Why are you so stupid? Since when did Qin Fian become synonymous with knowing how to live a good life? Would a man who knows how to live a good life use a handkerchief that costs a few thousand yuan? Xia Qian suddenly remembered the checkered handkerchief she took from Qin Fian's pocket. It was folded neatly, just like the clothes he wore. It was beautiful, neat, and clean. A handkerchief cost a few thousand yuan? God, was his brain kicked by a donkey? It was just wiping his nose and saliva. She could ask her sister to make 100 handkerchiefs for him. It would only cost a few thousand yuan. It was too extravagant. However, if her sister could say that it was a handkerchief worth a few thousand yuan, then it must be one. She stopped in her tracks and looked at Xiaoya, who was so cold that she was about to sneeze. Isn't the handkerchief fake? Could it be that Qin Fian's outfit was fake in order to confuse the public? Nonsense. The handkerchief is real. I make clothes. Can I tell if it's real or fake? But the handkerchief only costs a few thousand yuan. His watch costs a few million yuan. Xiaoya said, but a fake handkerchief only costs a few dozen yuan, and a fake watch costs more than 50,000 yuan. Didn't you calculate the ratio? If he really knows how to live a good life, wouldn't he be wearing a fake from head to toe? His suit costs more than 100,000 yuan, and his leather shoes are purely handmade in Italy. They cost tens of thousands. Why is he wearing a fake watch? Even a layman like me can tell after looking at it a few times. How can people in his circle not be able to tell? Sister, you're not lying to me, right? You really can tell? I really can't tell. Let alone a fake watch that costs more than 50,000 yuan. Even if it's made into 5,000 yuan, I can't tell. What's the difference? Add. Songshu 566. Chapter 580. Of course, Xiaoyu wouldn't tell her that the watch was a limited edition. It was an old model from more than 10 years ago. Mechanical watches wouldn't depreciate. Zhuang Yichen liked it so much that he paid a lot of money for it. If Zhuang Yichen's watch was real, then Qin Fian's watch must be fake. However, Zhuang Yichen and Qin Fian were close friends. Wasn't it embarrassing for Qin Fian to wear a fake watch in public? Your sister works in the fashion industry. Of course, I have sharp eyes and quick senses. I can tell if it's real or fake at a glance. Xia Qian coughed awkwardly. She discreetly lifted the Louis Vuitton handbag to her side and slowly walked towards the parking lot with Xiaoya. However, her fingers were sweating profusely from holding the handbag. Xiaoya didn't notice Xia Qian's small movements. She let go of Xia Qian's arm and walked towards her car. You could drive your lousy car away. I don't want to go the same way as you. Oomph. She gave her 200,000 yuan to buy a 20,000 yuan second-hand car. How embarrassing. Xiaoya suddenly remembered that Zhuang Yichen had also given her 5 million yuan to buy a car. In the end, she bought a 200,000 yuan car with an automatic transmission. She finally understood why Zhuang Yichen didn't give her any money after that. Now, she didn't want to give Xia Qian any money either. She was a F***king scammer. Not only was she a fool, but she was also a scammer. This time, Xia Qian didn't say anything about sisters sharing weal and woe. Instead, she quickly ran to her second-hand Geely. The remote control car lock had already beeped twice. She inserted the key into the keyhole on the door handle and turned it. Xiaoya chuckled. Are you possessed by a ghost today? Xia Qian quickly said, it's too cold. Let's go back quickly. Yi Er's mother-in-law won't let us visit her. Let's go back quickly. After saying that, she quickly got into the car, threw the LV bag in her hand into the passenger seat like a hot potato, started the car, and immediately fled. Yi Er closed his eyes and muttered softly. He wanted to eat some meat, but his heart was too uncomfortable. Jiang Zhao repeatedly asked the doctor if he could eat some meat, even if it was just meat soup. The doctor looked at the patient who had his eyes closed and said from time to time, I want to eat meat. My heart is repulsive. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. Mayor Jiang, Mrs. Jiang had just woken up, and it is not suitable for her to eat meat. Even if it is meat soup, there are many ingredients in it that cannot be easily absorbed. After all, the patient had been on 4 drips for a long time. It is best for her to drink rice soup first. Then, slowly add some nutritious things. Jiang Zhao felt that the doctor was being unreasonable. Yi Er only wanted to drink some soup. It's not like she really wants to eat meat. That's too unreasonable. Then don't give her thick soup. Stewing some clear soup should be fine, right? Actually, Yi Er wanted to eat meat, but he took the initiative to choose a compromise. Mayor Jiang, I think you also do not want to let Mrs. Jiang take any more risks. We are very sorry about the wrong 4 drips, and we will not shirk our responsibilities. Although Mrs. Jiang has woken up, she is still under observation. No one can guarantee that there will not be any complications. The doctor said again. Jiang Zhao felt that he was being threatened. He was using his wife's life to threaten him. He endured it. Although he was overjoyed, he did not forget to be rational. He had to keep an eye on Yi Er's condition. The doctor had told him that Yi Er was fine. It had not been long, and the 4 drips had already started. But he was not present at that time, and he did not know how long it took. Qin Fian went to the parking lot, sat in his car, picked up the ultra-thin laptop from the passenger seat, turned it on, and imported the photos he took from his phone into the computer. He felt that he was more rational than Jiang Zhao at this time, at least when everything had calmed down. Suddenly, he thought of something and called Jiang Zhao. Brother, the infusion equipment, whether it's the shelf or the tube, can't be moved. Put it in its original position. I think it's better to consider things more carefully. At least let Zhua Hao take it back and compare his fingerprints. I suspect that this matter is not a simple medical accident. It's common for hospitals outside to give the wrong infusion, but this is a private hospital. Every room has a special nurse, and the medicine is almost 1-to-1. Sister-in-law is the only one staying in our room, so there's no such thing as taking the wrong medicine. Even if the order is wrong, we still have to say it. But this is not a wrong order. There's no medicine at all. Brother, have you ever thought that this matter might be related to sister-in-law's car accident? Do you think it is related to Yi Er's accident? He had thought of these questions when he came out of the elevator. At this time, he looked at the photos on the laptop and repeated his thoughts to Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao suddenly had an idea. The phone was still by his ear. He asked the deputy director, "Where are the bags of 4 drips in the room just now? I just asked someone to clean them up. Who said they could be cleaned up?" The deputy director could not tell Jiang Zhao that it was for the sake of cleaning the environment. He could only tell the nurse immediately, "Hurry up and ask the cleaner not to dump them into the trash can. They should have just left." Jiang Zhao added, "Don't mess it up. Wear gloves." The hospital director looked at Jiang Zhao's expression. There were many accidents in the hospital, and it was possible that it was an accident. He became nervous and immediately said to the nurse, "Hurry up and bring the gloves over. Be careful. Just let Xiao Mian touch it." After listening to the deputy director's instructions, Jiang Zhao was temporarily relieved. He said to the phone again, "Fian, give Zhua Hao a call. Tell him the details and ask him to hurry up and deal with this matter." Qin Fian enlarged the photo and said, "Brother, you've been in the government for a long time, so you know more cases than me. I'll analyze it for you now." From the photo, the flow of the rollers was turned to the maximum. Normal nurses and caregivers would not do this. Moreover, sister-in-law has been in a coma for a long time. I remember that you've always adjusted her flow to a very low level. The nurses in this hospital are very considerate. At least most of them are very responsible. Even a man like me noticed it. How could they not notice this? Even if they didn't notice it, I'm sure you must have told the nurses and caregivers. Jiang Zhao sat by the bed. He held Yi Er's hand with one hand and gently massaged the needle mark on the back of her hand. He looked up at the deputy director and said, "If it's about done here, you can leave first." The deputy director led the doctors and nurses out of the ward. Jiang Zhao heard the sound of the door closing. "Fian, your analysis is very correct. I have to tell the nurses almost every day not to turn the flow too high. She hasn't exercised, and her blood circulation is slow. The nurses and caregivers who take care of Yin Yi all know this." At this point, his handsome brows suddenly furrowed. He asked in a low voice, "Who do you think has the most enmity with me all these years?" Qin Fian turned off the computer and threw it back to the passenger seat. He got out of the car and walked toward the office building. He had to ask about the medicine. This was something his aunt had arranged. As he walked, he said, "I'm afraid you have countless enemies. But brother, why are you so sure that it's your enemy and not sister-in-law's?" Jiang Zhao laughed self-deprecatingly. "It's not that I'm looking down on her. If she had enemies, they would have been dealt with when her father was in prison. Why wait until she has such a big backer like me to come and find trouble with her? Isn't finding trouble with her the same as finding trouble with me? Would anyone be so stupid? But brother, if she has a grudge with you, is there a need to kill sister-in-law time and time again? She could just go and dig up your gray matter and get you out of office." "What do you mean?" Qin Fian stopped in his tracks. He was a little hesitant. He looked up at the gray winter sky. His beautiful phoenix eyes seemed to see the sun through the fog. He narrowed his eyes and sighed. "Brother, don't be angry. I think, Sister Yin has always been brooding about your marriage. She won't." Jiang Zhao shook his head. His head really hurt. "Fian, contact Shuahao about this first. I'll go and see your sister-in-law first. If there's anything, I'll call you. Ask your family to send more food over tonight." He felt that no matter what, his appetite would be much better today. Because Yi could drink rice soup as long as she could eat, as long as she wanted to eat, it was a good thing. Qiu Xiaoyu drove all the way back to the office. She was in a bad mood on the way to the hospital with Xia Qian. After all, she had gone to see her unconscious friend. When she heard that Yi was in the emergency room again, she was also in a bad mood, so she hit her. But when she came out of the hospital, her mood was even worse. Even though Yi could eat now, she was still in a bad mood. During this period of time, she had been in a bad mood. Just now, she was clearly in the wrong. She wanted to cause trouble. Even if Jiang Zhao had a conflict with the head nurse, it was not up to her to stand up for him. Her attitude made her look like a shrew. However, the last time she had brought her sister and her to the nightclub to look for male prostitutes, Zhuang Yichen had come before they could have fun. She also knew that a month after that incident, the news of a few handsome men who used to work at the nightclub had their fingers chopped off came out. One of them had his hamstrings plucked. It was probably done by Zhuang Yichen. This man would not let anyone get hold of him when he did things. He had said that she was not allowed to betray him. Therefore, the male prostitute's leg that she had sat on could not be kept, and his hand could not be kept. At that time, they had clearly broken up, but he still sent someone to follow her. She always knew. This time, it was really annoying. The head nurse actually did not slap her back. She had not seen Zhuang Yichen in a long time. He also did not look for her. She even had a feeling that her every move was under his watch. What if the head nurse slapped her back today? Would he appear? She felt like she had been forgotten by Zhuang Yichen. She felt inexplicably disappointed. In the past, he would also not contact her for half a month. She would never call him. When he needed her, he would contact her and ask her to wait for him at the apartment. But it was different now. They had broken up. If the head nurse slapped her back today, in a few days, would there be news of her being disfigured or having her hamstrings pulled? Xiaoyu repeatedly and uncontrollably had such vicious thoughts. Awesome novel. Songshu 566. Chapter 581. Looking at the traffic in front of her, she thought of Jiang Zhao's nervousness and uneasiness for Yi Er every day. Suddenly, she felt that women still had to find a man to marry. Being a pure person wasn't something that could last forever. She didn't know what kind of relationship she had with Zhuang Yichen was. They had never watched a movie together, and the number of times they had eaten together could be counted with one hand. When they were together, other than lying on top of each other and hugging each other to sleep, they didn't have much interaction. Actually, they weren't pure people. They were just bed partners who slept together from time to time. Kang Yun was back. She felt that she could finally have her own love. She was still young and could still burn for the love that she treasured. That dry and empty heart would be nourished and filled. However, Zhuang Yichen was like a ghost that wouldn't go away. You said that he would come to destroy her, but he didn't. You said that he wouldn't destroy her, but he would always appear without any warning. Zhuang Yichen was really ruthless. He knew her too well. In these 4 years, she couldn't see through him, but he could always see through her. After he said those words last time, he directly touched her sore spot. She realized that she really didn't have the face to face Kang Yun. How should she face him? How should she talk about her past? She relied on sleeping with a powerful man for almost 4 years to get to where she was today. She couldn't say it. That kind of inferiority had always been there. Every time she was in front of Kang Yun, she felt inferior. In the past, it was because of the difference in their family background. But now, it was because she was no longer the Xiaoyu of the past. Her thoughts were no longer pure. What did she learn to scheme? Why was she willing to choose the shortcut to success? From the moment Kang Yun left her, it was after Kang Yun left her that gave her a blow. From then on, she told herself that she had to stand high, so high that he could see her no matter where she went. She couldn't escape even if she wanted to. She didn't just want to be a designer. She wanted to be a famous designer. She wanted to be in all kinds of news, all kinds of headlines. She wanted to be in all kinds of magazines that men and women read. Zhuang Yichen had always teased her. She wanted to be famous so badly that even a celebrity's woman was not as utilitarian as her. If she hadn't met Zhuang Yichen, she would have wanted to become famous. No matter what method she used, as long as she could drag Kang Yun out from some corner of the world. Because once he left, he took away her world. She didn't even have a world anymore. What soul, body, and reputation did she want? Therefore, after getting into Zhuang Yichen's bed, she became famous, and her reputation became more and more famous. Qiu Xiaoyu was a signboard in the fashion industry, and many companies even invited her to join them and give her an annual salary. Because of Kang Yun, her life had become so bright and beautiful. She was the dream of countless girls in High City who wanted to start their own business. Some people helped her write her autobiography. Some invited her to do interviews. She had endless fashion weeks and endless cover shoots. She was a famous designer and also a celebrity designer. But no one knew that all of this was because of Kang Yun and because of Zhuang Yichen. At that time, Zhuang Yichen had given her 5 million yuan to buy a car, but she bought a car that cost more than 200,000 yuan. After that, in a fit of anger, he didn't give her any more money. But now, she didn't even dare to count the money that he had spent on her. She was afraid that she would be scared silly. In fact, sometimes when she thought about it, she didn't know what she was worth. Maybe Zhuang Yichen was too rich, so he didn't care about spending money for her and let her enjoy the glory of being the moon surrounded by stars. But she had never cared about the money. Whenever she thought about those things, she would feel empty. She earned a lot of money, but she didn't know how to spend it. She made clothes herself, and she had endless clothes to wear. She would make whatever style she liked. Those international brands always had something that she wasn't satisfied with, so she would make a style that she liked. She saved money again. But Zhuang Yiqin was such a cold person, and yet he still praised her. It's not bad. It suits you. Hearing him say that, she felt even more that she couldn't spend the money. The car drove very slowly. When she reached the studio, the employees were already preparing to get off work. She swung the car keys in her hand and walked slowly upstairs in her high heels. The building was on the 4th floor, and the lower floor was the finished products exhibition area. It was decorated in a stylish style, and it was almost 700 square meters. It was divided into several areas, and the clothes were displayed according to their style. The 2nd floor was the guests' fitting area, and it was warm and comfortable. The 3rd floor was the employees' work area, and the designers were very busy. The 4th floor was her office area. It was empty and mainly white, mourning the former Qiu Shaoya. Although the building wasn't in the city center, it was in the center of the wealthy district in the south. Zhuang Yiqin was a rich man, and this building wasn't rented. He bought it, and the owner's name was Qiu Shaoya. From now on, she would not work in the future, and she would rely on the rent of this building to live a leisurely and decadent life. She remembered that when she heard the news that day, she worked hard to serve Zhuang Yiqin in bed for the whole night. She couldn't help but smile with a hint of rebuke. How is there a lot? These days, I only sent 3 dishes for every meal. Today, there are 2 more dishes. Young Master Fian said that you have a good appetite today, so I made some dishes that you like. I estimated that I haven't finished making all the dishes that you like, so I'll make some more tomorrow. You have to eat more. You've lost weight recently. Jiang Zhao sighed. There was nothing he could do. Forget it. Who told him to be so talkative? He had to tell Fian that he wanted more dishes. Grandfather probably couldn't wait to move the table from home. The old maid looked at Jiang Zhao with some guilt. Although Jiang Zhao didn't reprimand her, the way he walked past her without saying a word made her feel worse than if he had reprimanded her. Young Master Zhao, you eat first. I'll go feed young madam. No need. I'll do it. Jiang Zhao felt that how could he let the old maid do such a joyous thing? Ye woke up and could eat. It was natural for him to enjoy this kind of satisfaction. He had been waiting for her to wake up. The Qin family's servants were very attentive. They brought several spoons from small to large. The old maid let the other servant go back first. She would tidy up later and return to the Qin residence. Jiang Zhao chose a small one. The rice soup was very thick. He scooped up a spoonful and put it to his mouth. The rice porridge was very fragrant. He blew on it until it was warm before putting it to Yi Er's mouth. He tried to entice her to gently open her mouth. Just as her mouth opened a little, he held the spoon upright, and the rice soup flowed into the woman's mouth. Every time he saw Yi Er's throat move, he could hear the sound of her swallowing. After such a long time, there was nothing more blissful than hearing this sound. Jiang Zhao enjoyed this kind of action. After Yi Er finished swallowing, he fed her another spoonful. Seeing how she swallowed so vigorously, he really wanted to turn the entire table of dishes into rice soup for her to drink. She must think that this rice soup is very delicious, right? Until Yi Er lazily opened her eyes and looked at Jiang Zhao. Her eyes were wet and the corners of her mouth twitched from time to time. It was as if she had been greatly wronged. The spoon in Jiang Zhao's hand paused just above Yi Er's lips. He looked at her, and his eyes couldn't help but moisten. He held it in and forcefully swallowed his saliva. Then, he fiercely blinked his eyes. After he blinked his eyes dry, it all flowed into his heart. Look at her small appearance. Look at her weak and listless eyes. Look at her trembling lips. Sigh. She must be feeling terrible. The corners of Yi Er's mouth twitched slightly at first. Then, she looked down and stared at the spoon above her mouth. As Jiang Zhao's hand was trembling, a few drops of rice soup dripped down and landed on her lips. She stuck out her tongue and licked it. When she licked it, the tears in her eyes turned into tears. Jiang Zhao saw Yi Er licking the rice soup and quickly regained his senses. He scooped another spoonful of rice soup and coaxed her gently. Yin Yi, don't be sad. Don't be sad. I forgot to continue feeding you. Come, drink more if you like. If you don't have enough, I will ask Annie Lee to get more. Yi Er panicked when she heard this. She drank some rice soup and regained her strength. Tears rolled down from the corners of her eyes. She sobbed, Jiang Zhao, you are mayor. How can you let your wife drink some rice soup? How can you bear to let her drink some rice soup? I have waited for so long and did not even get a piece of meat. What did I do to you? Why are you treating me like this? Woo 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 woo, I want to eat meat. Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 582. Jiang Zhao was about to feed Yi Er the rice soup when he stopped. He burst into laughter, and the rice soup spilled onto Yi Er's face. Jiang Zhao laughed louder and louder, but Yi Er didn't care at all. She grabbed the blanket and rubbed her face, saying, I want to eat meat, I want to eat meat, I want to eat meat. If I don't eat meat, I won't have the strength to speak. Her voice became softer and softer. Jiang Zhao turned around and saw that his mother was still standing by the table by the window. She didn't dare to come over and just stood there, waiting for him to eat. When Jiang Zhao's mother saw Jiang Zhao turn around and smile at her, she felt relieved and smiled. She thought, young Master Zhao is finally not angry with me, right? At this moment, Jiang Zhao's anger had already been pushed to the side. He said to his mother, Auntie Lee, you could go back first. You can come back tomorrow to pack up these things. Also, there's a nurse, so don't worry. How can I do that? You've been too tired recently. Let me stay here and take care of young madam. Auntie Lee, you can go back. Jiang Zhao sighed. He was a little displeased. He didn't like to be interfered with. Caring was one thing, but right now, he wanted to be alone with Yi Er. Jiang Zhao's mother saw that Jiang Zhao was about to get angry again. She was afraid that he would get into trouble if she did something wrong. So she pushed the dishes on the table and continued to nag. Young Master Zhao, hurry up and eat. The dishes will get cold soon. Winter is not as good as summer. Although the room is air-conditioned, Jiang Zhao nodded. I know. After his mother left, Jiang Zhao hurried over and locked the door like a thief. He returned to the bedside and wanted to see if Yi Er could sit up. He put his arm around Yi Er's back and knees. His heart ached. His wife had lost weight. A few days ago, when he hugged her every day, it wasn't as obvious as it was now. Now that she could move, it was different. Yin Yi, let me help you sit up and eat, okay? Is there meat? Even though Yi Er was weak, she still didn't forget to ask the question she was concerned about when she was pulled up by Jiang Zhao's neck. After Jiang Zhao put Yi Er down, he put a pillow behind her back. He felt that it was not enough, so he put his own pillow behind her back. When he heard Yi Er relentlessly asking where the meat was, he put his index finger to his mouth and said, Shoo, keep your voice down. The doctor said that you can't eat meat and can only drink rice soup. Rice soup? Rice soup again? Is this how a person should live? When he thought of the tasteless liquid that had flowed into her mouth with her eyes closed, she became irritated. At this moment, other than her eyes being a little dim and her spirit being a little weak, when she spoke, it was as if the nearly 20 days of being in a coma had never happened at all. Jiang Zhao couldn't help but feel delighted again. However, he couldn't resist her adorable manner of begging for food. Lower your voice. How about I make you some meat soup to drink? Just drink a little, okay? Hubby. Yi Er reached out her hand that was still covered with a Band-Aid and held Jiang Zhao's hand. She begged in a low voice, Hubby, I'll only eat a small piece of meat. After that, I won't be greedy anymore. If I'm greedy again, you can spank me. The word hubby made Jiang Zhao's heart go soft and sour. During this period of time, he had stayed here and heard her call him that many times in his dreams. She called him hubby in all kinds of tones, acting coquettishly to please him, complaining and pitiful, supporting and angry. When the word hubby appeared in his dreams, he felt that she had woken up. Thinking about it, a small piece should be fine, right? It was just a small piece. He made up his mind. A small piece. Okay, just a small piece. But you must drink more water after eating. I'm afraid you can't digest it. Yer looked at the room she was staying in and then looked at the clothes she was wearing. I know. Patients can't eat too much meat and greasy food. Her originally dim eyes suddenly lit up. She said greedily, "Is there any red braised pork? I'll just eat a piece of red braised pork." Jiang Zhao was stunned. Red braised pork? She actually said that she wanted to eat red braised pork? How could this be? She clearly said that she couldn't eat too much meat and greasy food. Wasn't red braised pork the most greasy food? There are lean meat, chicken, duck, and fish, but you can't eat red braised pork. Yer actually didn't like red braised pork that much in the past. It was just that she hadn't eaten for too long, and her body always craved for some oily meat. When she thought that she could only eat a little meat, she might as well eat a piece of red braised pork. Moreover, she clearly smelled the scent of red braised pork just now. It was the smell of red braised pork that was braised and stewed with dried vegetables. Thinking of the fat in the red braised pork, she bit it in her mouth. It was soft and sticky and melted in her mouth. I don't like to eat other meat. I just like red braised pork. Hubby. This call of hubby was simply fatal. Jiang Zhao was at his wit's end. One of his hands was caught by Yi Er's hands. Her hands were very cold, and the back of her hands were bruised because of frequent transfusions. Her other hand pressed against her forehead and rubbed it again and again. She was very conflicted. The doctor said that she couldn't even drink the meat soup, but Yi Er directly jumped 2 levels. She didn't want a meat soup or lean meat. She wanted red braised pork. He was afraid that Yi Er would agree to the doctor's words as soon as she ate the meat. He was afraid of the consequences. But if he didn't let Yi Er eat, he couldn't bear to look at her pitiful face. It was as if she had just been released from prison. When the words red braised pork were mentioned, her eyes lit up. Every time she said it, she swallowed her saliva. Not only did she look like someone who had been released from prison, but she also looked like those children he saw when he went to the countryside in the mountainous areas. Their innocent eyes were also like this, shining when they improved their food. Then promise me that you have to eat a piece of meat in small bites. You can't swallow it all at once. Drink some rice soup first before you eat. Jiang Zhao picked up the bowl of rice soup and handed it to Yi Er. Without a word, Yi Er snatched the bowl and gulped it down. She raised her wrist and wiped her mouth with her sleeve. I finished it. Drink it with that spoon of yours. I don't know how long it will take before I can eat meat. Jiang Zhao was speechless. He was worried that she would choke if he fed her too quickly. In the end, she picked up the bowl and drank it in a few mouthfuls for the sake of eating meat. At this time, Jiang Zhao was like an old mother. He poured half a bowl of rice soup and picked up a piece of red braised pork from the table. He placed it in the bowl of rice soup and carried it to Yi Er to sit down. He used his chopsticks to split the soft red braised pork into 2 and stirred it twice. He then split it into 4 and stirred it a few more times. Yi Er was anxious. She stared at the red braised pork and asked, "Honey, what are you doing?" "Washing the oil. It's too oily. It's not good for you to eat it." Even if he ate meat, he still remembered 3 words. Avoid oily food. Avoid oily food. Don't pick it up. If you pick it up again, it will turn into foam. How can I eat it? Yi Er hurriedly stopped Jiang Zhao. The meat was so small that it was not even enough to fill the gaps between her teeth. Jiang Zhao said seriously, "Pick it up and wash away the oil inside. It will be safer to eat it this way." Although he had promised to help his poor wife secretly, he had to wash away the oil in the meat as much as possible. He did not have to worry about the woman swallowing the meat whole like a wolf. Anyway, he looked at her eyes. She definitely had the potential to do so. Jiang Zhao buried his head in his actions and ignored the woman who had not eaten oily meat for 20 days. Her eyes were green and full of sorrow and pain. She looked at the bowl in his hand. She was unwilling and unbearable to watch the whole piece of meat turn into a bowl of minced pork soup. The small bowl could be described as pocket-sized. It was only half a bowl of rice soup and could be drunk in 1 gulp. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao, who did not let go of any piece of meat that was larger than a grain of rice. She was going crazy. She took a deep breath. Her hair was a little messy, but she could not see, so she did not pay much attention to it. When she leaned forward, she looked like a female bandit who had come down the mountain. She quickly lowered her head and bit the side of the bowl in Jiang Zhao's hand. Her originally weak hands suddenly flew to the side of the bowl and tilted it, pouring all the rice soup and minced meat into her mouth. Jiang Zhao was about to snatch the bowl when Yi Er's mouth bulged like a toad's. It was swollen and round. Jiang Zhao anxiously put down the bowl and scolded, "Yin Yi, spit it out." He had to make her spit it out. If this bowl of oil went down, it would be over for her. He reached out to pry open her mouth, but Yi Er stepped back in a panic and swallowed hard. Her eyes were forced to roll back as she swallowed it. It was useless for Jiang Zhao to regret or be angry at this time. He could only blame himself for being soft-hearted and causing such a big mistake. He even said that he would wash the oil off the meat for her, but she drank it all in one gulp without even chewing. He was so angry. Yi Er widened her eyes and shook her head. It was not bad. The meat soup was better than the rice soup, but she did not seem to have tasted the meat. She tried hard to recall the taste of the meat in her mouth, but she could not remember it no matter how hard she tried. She remembered now. She did not eat the meat at all. Meat had to be slowly ground with the teeth and chewed slowly to get the fragrance out. What was the difference between her eating meat like this and drinking a big mouthful of water and swallowing a few pills in her mouth? "Jiang Zhao, give me another piece of meat." She was unhappy. She did not want to call him hubby anymore. This was Yin Yi in reality. "Yin Yi, you have no shame. You ate the whole piece just now." Jiang Zhao felt that he could no longer speak nicely to Yi Er. When she was not awake, he missed her so much. When she woke up, she drugged him and called him hubby, hubby so intimately that it melted his heart. He had already indulged her in cheating him of meat, but she still went overboard and did not keep her promise. Now it was even worse. She still wanted to eat it. If he spoke to her in a pleasant manner again, she would probably eat the whole plate of red braised meat. The corner of Yi Er's mouth twitched, and she said unhappily, "How is that food?" It was clearly drinking. "I did not enjoy the process of eating meat at all. That doesn't count. Give me another piece. You don't have to wash it anymore. You can wash it if you want, but don't split it apart. Just wash the whole piece, okay? Let me chew it. I think my teeth need some exercise. I need some exercise. Pick a big one for me." "Yin Yi." Jiang Zhao knew that this wife of his had the ability to anger him to death. Even if they had not spoken properly for more than 20 days, she could already make him so angry that smoke was coming out of his 7 orifices in less than 20 minutes. Not only did she want a whole piece, she wanted a big piece. "Yin Yi, you can only give me rice soup now. If you dare to mention meat again, I will never give you meat in this lifetime. If you don't give me meat, I won't sleep with you." Yi Er was not full or hungry, but she was craving for meat. She felt that only meat could solve her problem. "What did you say?" Jiang Zhao had just been fierce, so when he heard this, he could not help but laugh. "You won't sleep with me?" She smacked her lips. "Haha, do you think that's up to you? Don't I still have to sleep with you however I want to? Even if you want to sleep with me now, I can't be bothered to do it with you. Forget it." She only mentioned it slightly, and he already wanted to sleep with her so badly. But with this body, he still had to take care of it. Come and see. Xinwu 799. Chapter 583. Then I cannot be serious. But if you give me meat to eat, I can be serious in bed with you. Yi Er said unabashedly, "Don't tell me you're willing to lower the quality of sex for a piece of meat." Jiang Zhao made a hiss sound. This girl had been in a coma for more than 20 days, and her brain was also muddled. What kind of brain did she have to talk about meat with high-quality sex? Sex was also meat. Red braised pork was also meat. Could they really talk about it on the same table? Jiang Zhao had a tall figure. He supported himself with one hand on his waist, tilted his head, and looked down at Yi Er lazily. "Yin Er, is your brain all right?" Yi Er sneered. "You really want my brain to be damaged, don't you? Once my brain is damaged, you can dump me and fly around with that Ouyang yin of yours every day, right?" Jiang Zhao laughed out loud. She still remembered? Ouyang yin meant that her brain was not damaged. "There's no meat to eat, but if you don't drink the rice soup seriously, I can only give you a nutrient infusion. In order to maintain the basic functions of the human body, we can't do without water. Are you willing to drink the rice soup like this, or are you willing to have a needle inserted into your vein? Yi saw Jiang Zhao laughing so happily when he heard her mention the Ouyang Yin and felt annoyed. She felt that she was not stupid and that her brain was not damaged. Who would be willing to be injected for no reason? Then she looked at the back of her hand and wrist. There were needle marks everywhere, like a hornet's nest. She said angrily, "Drink the rice soup." Jiang Zhao poured a small bowl of rice soup and handed it to Yi. Yi said coldly, "Jiang Zhao, remember this. If you treat me like this today, I will definitely take revenge on another day. Isn't it just eating a piece of meat from you? Stingy." After saying that, she finished the rice soup and fell down asleep for a while. She felt a little uncomfortable, so she got up to wash her hair, brush her teeth, and wash her face. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi and was a little shocked. It was as if Yi had not been hospitalized at all and had not been in the emergency room. She had just caught a cold and came to the hospital to get some medicine. The more Yi looked fine, the heavier Jiang Zhao's worries. The deputy director's words at the emergency room door were still ringing in his ears. Could it be the final radiance of the setting sun? This was a problem he had been worried about. Since he went to the bathroom, he sent a message to Qin Fian. Qin Fian originally suspected that this was not a simple case of taking the wrong medicine. He was discussing with the director about the surveillance footage, but the director refused. This was a high-class private hospital. The patients had absolute privacy. If they gave the surveillance footage to anyone who wanted it, then this high-class private hospital would lose its meaning. Qin Fian saw Jiang Zhao's message and replied, "I want to see the surveillance footage, but the director won't give it to me. I think I'll have to get grandfather to talk to this old man." Jiang Zhao bit his lower lip. "Yeah, if this matter is really not that simple, we must get the surveillance footage. If grandfather still wants to act pretentiously, then I will." He would find fault with the hospital and close it down. 20 days later, all the information about the murderer had been cut off on the road by the river. Yunwu was also in a terrible fix every day. There was no progress. Was it really related to Ouyang Yin? Ouyang Yin was not that kind of person. He did not believe she would do something like that. Yi came out from the bathroom. She saw the untouched dishes on the table. As she dried her hair, she asked Jiang Zhao kindly, "Aren't you going to eat something?" Jiang Zhao put away his phone and prepared to give Yi a hug. "You're done? I'll be there in a minute." Yi added angrily, "We've really returned to the olden days. The husband can eat lavishly while the wife can't sit at the table. She can only drink rice soup." Jiang Zhao watched as Yi returned to the bathroom like nothing had happened. Soon, the sound of the hairdryer whistling could be heard. He sighed, shook his head, and smiled. Unwu dropped the materials in his hands and walked to the balcony of the resting area. He looked down from the balcony outside, She Empire's CEO office. The night was as dark as the sea. The cars were like beetles, and the people were like ants. And then stood inside the room, looking at Yunwa's back. Her usually expressionless face couldn't help but crease into a frown. She picked up the materials one by one and put them away. The materials on the floor were all related to the car accident by the river. The clues that were cut in half made Unwu feel helpless. Unwu stood on the balcony, his hands on the glass railing. The wind was even colder at the height of the 39th floor. He looked at his hands. After the second skin transplant, the color had returned to normal. If he did it again, without a closer look, one wouldn't be able to tell that they were once burned. However, he didn't need to look to know that his hands would never be able to draw again. It was not that he couldn't draw anymore, but he couldn't hold a brush for long periods of time. He had tried several times, but the lines were no longer smooth, and he couldn't draw her the way he imagined her to be. It's just a murderer. Why is it so hard to find? Could it be a death row criminal? A fugitive on death row? If that was the case, how could Jiang Zhao not be able to find out? It would probably be easier to find out than him, right? Unwu turned around, but the glass door wasn't closed. And then, how's her condition today? And then buried her head in the documents and pretended not to hear. And then, Yin Yu's voice grew louder. He was a quiet, elegant, and beautiful boy, but in his suit and his stern voice, there was a hint of hostility. Because of the wrong injection of medicine today, and Anne's voice became softer and softer. It was so soft that if the office hadn't been so quiet at this time, he wouldn't have been able to hear it clearly. Unwoo strode back into the room. He slowly clenched his fists, and the veins on his fair skin could be seen. Why are you only telling me now? She's already recovered. She's fine. And then raised her head unhappily and stood up. There was a hint of stubbornness in her cold eyes. Have you had enough? She has someone to take care of her. She has a husband. Whether she's dead or alive, someone will take care of her. You don't have to care. And then, what kind of attitude is this? Faced with Yunwoo's questioning, and then suddenly became agitated. You're my brother. You're my brother. I'm not your servant. I'm your sister. You can't talk to me with such an attitude. You should respect me. You shouldn't ask me to help you investigate her. I hate her. Unwoo was still clenching his fists. When he lowered his head, he took a deep breath. When he looked up again, he was already relaxed and warm. He bent down slightly, grabbed Anne's shoulders with both hands, and looked into her eyes. He said gently, Anne, I'm sorry. I thought that we grew up together and could share everything with you, so I didn't do this on purpose. I didn't think that asking you to investigate ye air for me would mean that I didn't respect you. If that's what you think, I apologize. I won't ask you to interfere in my affairs in the future. I'm sorry, okay? Don't be angry. Brother will take you out to eat your favorite food tonight, okay? You're lying. And then pushed Unwoo away. Her voice was very loud, and her eyes were wide open as if she was trying her best to suppress some kind of emotion. You don't know how to share with me at all. You went to Wudong Street for so long, but you never told me that you were waiting for her. You never shared your worries with me. When you did, I wasn't the first to know. Besides, you only shared with me because you had no other choice. You could only tell me and ask me to cooperate with you. You didn't treat me as your sister at all. You didn't. Unwoo raised his hand from Anne's push. To prevent her from getting agitated again, he stopped his hands in midair and did not touch her again. Hearing Anne's continuous complaints, he reached out to cover his face and rubbed it. And it was actually right. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't hide this matter anymore, he wouldn't have told anyone. It was precisely because he was overly cautious that he had brushed shoulders with Yi-Er. He needed to meet her and get close to her, so he could only pull it into his side to put on an act. And was forced to participate in this act, and only now did she vent her dissatisfaction with him. Moreover, after so many years, this was the first time Anin dared to speak to him like this. Unwoo said, Anin, you've always been my sister. I've always treated you as my sister. I'll always treat you as my sister. You can't let your thoughts run wild. In the future, don't say that I don't treat you as my sister. Anin was stunned and suddenly fell silent. You don't like Yi-Er. You hate her, but don't say it in front of me. You clearly know that I like her very much. You're my sister. Even if you don't want to stand on the same path as me, don't go against me, okay? Seeing that Anin didn't react at all, Unwoo said, Anin, I'll go to the hospital to have a look. Don't worry about her matters. I'm very sorry for making you so upset. Unwoo was always like this. He was polite to the point of alienation and gentle to the point of strangers. Anin watched as Unwoo took off his suit and placed it on his chair. Then, she walked to the hanger, took off her light gray woolen coat and scarf, and left the room. After she hung up Yunwoo's suit again, and went to the balcony where Unwoo had been standing earlier. When Unwoo walked out of the office, people greeted him. He responded with a smile. His smile was healing and made people feel warm. Some people in the company said that if they saw the little CEOs smile more often, they would live a few more years. Not only was it pleasing to the eye, it also made people feel comfortable. Yunwoo's smile was maintained until he pressed the button for the CEO's private elevator. He walked in, and the elevator door closed. His face suddenly darkened when he thought about what Anin said. Yi-Er had been sent to the emergency room again today. Although she was out of danger, he was still worried because of An's attitude. No matter what, he had to go and take a look. The elevator went straight to the underground parking lot. Unwoo looked relatively thin and weak. Naturally, people would think of him as weak. His legs were very long, but when he walked, he was fast and steady, showing a kind of masculine strength. He held the remote control key in his hand and pressed the unlock button. The car not far away mechanically honked twice. The car lights flashed a few times. He opened the door and got in. The temperature in the underground parking lot was not low. There was no need to warm it up. The car started quickly, and the speed was even faster. Jiang Zhao ate. He had not had such a good appetite in a long time. When he heard the sound of the hairdryer from the bathroom, his appetite was even better. She actually did not want him to help her. She said that she could do it herself since it was just drying her hair. During this meal, even the vegetables and tofu tasted like bird's tripe. He sighed and said it tastes so good. It would have been better if he did not say this, or if he said it quietly. However, these words were heard by Yi, who had just turned off the hairdryer. The anger in her heart quickly spread to her face. She was really miserable as a wife. She rubbed her hair, and it was very soft. She walked out of the bathroom and stood at the 2-meter-long entrance. She could see Jiang Zhao eating heartily. She thought to herself that she should work harder. What did it matter if she ate or not? When she was discharged from the hospital, she could go home and cook. Couldn't she live without eating his food? She got out of bed angrily, covered her head with the blanket, and fell asleep. Why was she so calculated with him? He had always been at odds with her. He could do whatever he wanted. Anyway, he did not care about her, and she did not care about him. It was no big deal. Unwoo knocked twice on the door. He was a little worried that Yi had just gotten out of danger. She needed to rest. Welfare. Songshu 566. Chapter 584. Jiang Zhao thought it was a nurse who knocked on the door gently and politely. Since he was not afraid of being seen by the doctor, he put down his chopsticks and walked over to open the door. His expression immediately changed. What are you doing here? Unwoo no longer had his quiet and scholarly temperament. Instead, he looked domineering. Jiang Zhao, what am I doing here? I want to ask you, what are you doing here all day? Aren't you the one taking care of Yi? Do you always have to take care of her until something happens to her before you feel that you're important? Jiang Zhao was actually in a good mood that night. Because of Yi's actions when she woke up, he often neglected the fact that she was in the emergency room today. However, Yinwu's words always touched his bottom line. No matter what, Yin Hongwei, his parents, Si Jie, and even Yi's friends could say that he was in the wrong. However, Xianwu could not do that. He was not Yi's family, nor was he Yi's friend. He was Yi's suitor. He was his love rival. This was a bomb that was buried beside him. Min Zikai was nothing. Min Zikai was not as bold as Xianwu. Xianwu dared to stand in front of him and threaten him. Moreover, Xianwu knew that something happened to Yi today. This meant that Xianwu's men were around. Jiang Zhao felt that it would be too funny if he fought with Xianwu every time they met. Therefore, he still had to act like a gentleman. If Xianwu wanted to question him angrily, he could only respond calmly. Unwoo, I think you really have nothing to do. If you think you can't find a wife, you could try going on blind dates. You don't have to think about someone else's household register all day long. After all, you're a rich man's son. It's not good for such a tasteless thing to spread. Unwoo sneered. Is that so? A rich man's son who can't even protect his wife. If word gets out, won't it be even tasteless? Even worse? Yi heard the argument at the door and immediately perked up. He shouted, Unwoo, is that you? Jiang Zhao and Unwoo were both shocked. Jiang Zhao was angry and shocked, while Unwoo and Jiang Zhao wanted to turn around and grab him, but it was too late. Unwoo looked at Yi, who was sitting on the bed and smiling at him. He felt relieved. Are you feeling better? Yes, I'm much better. Unwoo, why didn't you come just now? Unwoo smiled faintly. He turned to look at Jiang Zhao, whose face was already ashen. He smiled happily. Brother Zhao was chatting with me just now. I forgot. Unwoo, are you here to visit me? Yi looked at Unwoo. When she smiled, it was just like the countless mornings, afternoons, and evenings she had spent on Wudong Street. Yin was heart-warmed. He smiled gently, and his voice was gentle and loving. He really wanted to reach out and caress her face, but he didn't. Of course. If I'm not here to visit you, why would I come here? When Yi looked at Unwu and smiled like that, Jiang Zhao's heart couldn't help but tighten. She had promised him before that she wouldn't interact with Shi Unwu. How could she look at Shi Unwu and smile like that? He walked over and held Yi's shoulders. Yin Yi, you need to rest. I don't want to rest. I can't sleep. Yi pushed Jiang Zhao away and looked at Unwu. Unwu, you came to visit me. Did you bring anything delicious? Unwu was slightly embarrassed. Yes, he came to visit her, but he had forgotten the most basic etiquette. Yi, what do you want? I'll prepare it for you right away. I just want to eat some meat. Yi nodded. She felt that there was nothing wrong with saying that. Unwu turned around and looked at the dozens of plates on the table. There were meat and vegetables. Could it be? He turned back and looked at Jiang Zhao, who was fuming. Yi glanced at Jiang Zhao and said to Unwu, "Don't look at him. He won't give me anything to eat. He eats alone and only gives me some rice soup. He abuses me. You didn't even bring anything for me to eat when you came to visit me? Yin Yi, that's enough." Jiang Zhao didn't expect Yi to speak so rudely to an outsider the moment she woke up. She kept criticizing him. Yi wasn't like this in the past. If it wasn't for the fact that she still remembered Ouyang Yin and knew Shi Unwu, he would have suspected that she had become stupid from sleeping for the past 20 days. What's wrong? You won't let me eat, but you won't let anyone else eat? Yi felt that she was being a little unreasonable. She tasted a little, and it was especially fragrant. However, she wasn't allowed to continue eating. She felt terrible. Seeing Jiang Zhao eat such a large table of food made her feel even worse. Her heart felt like it was being scratched by a cat. Unwu knew that Jiang Zhao cared about Yi and wouldn't refuse to let her eat. It was probably the doctor's instructions. However, he wouldn't defend Jiang Zhao in front of Yi. He smiled and said, "Yi, you can't eat today. It's not suitable for a patient who has just recovered to eat too much. You've already eaten some today. If you eat more, your digestive system will be damaged. I'll bring you some meat tomorrow, okay?" Unwu felt like he was coaxing a child. When Yi asked him for meat, she sounded like a child. "Unwu, I don't think you're the type to lie. We've known each other for so long and are friends. Don't lie to me." Got it. Jiang Zhao was not only depressed, but also hurt internally. Yi had just woken up, so he couldn't spank her. Otherwise, he would definitely pick her up and beat her up. She actually dared to treat his love rival like an outsider. "Yin Yi, if you don't sleep now, I won't let you eat any meat tomorrow. Do you believe me?" Yi consciously collapsed, pulled the blanket over herself, and went to sleep. She didn't rub it. Unwu was in a good mood. "Yi, I'll come and see you tomorrow." "Okay, don't forget to bring meat," Yi added generously. She raised her head slightly and gave Unwu a grateful smile. She didn't believe that he couldn't eat meat if he wanted to. Was Jiang Zhao really a tyrant? She didn't seem like someone who would have problems at all. Jiang Zhao had been pranking her all this while. He actually wants to suffocate her to death. He will be happy if his wife is dead. Forget it. She will not be calculative with him. She doesn't care what he wants to do. But if he wants to torture her, no way. But Jiang Zhao was the mayor, and her father's matter was not settled yet. Yi suddenly remembered something and sat up. Oh my God, why was she so silly? She still needs to rely on Jiang Zhao to settle her father's matter. How could she talk back to him over some meat? Did she want to die? When Yi heard Jiang Zhao slamming the door and locking it, she shivered. Oh no, Jiang Zhao was angry. It must be because she had badmouthed him in front of Unwu. Will the consequences be serious? Yi saw Jiang Zhao walking over with a black face. She immediately gave a flattering smile. "Hubby, are you full? Do you still want to eat more?" "I'm not full. I'm full because of you." He was really full because of her. "Hubby, I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't know what to do because of the meat. I apologize to you." Yi looked at Jiang Zhao sincerely. "It's late. Let's sleep." Jiang Zhao couldn't stand the smell of food in the house. "You sleep first." Dong Shuebing walked to the table and put the dishes back into the thermos. He covered the thermos and opened the windows. The night lights outside were dim because of the fog. The night light without a needle was like a hairy moon hanging in the sky. The nurse came over with the medicine, and Jiang Zhao poured a glass of water for Yi Er to take the medicine. Jiang Zhao was in a bad mood, so he kept a straight face and didn't say anything. Yi Er didn't dare to touch the tiger's whiskers anymore. She took whatever medicine Jiang Zhao told her to take. Then he gulped down a mouthful of water and swallowed hard. Some small pills stuck to the walls of his throat, and he couldn't swallow them down. In the end, he couldn't help but vomit. He vomited everything in his stomach, including the rice soup and minced meat that he had eaten. Jiang Zhao panicked. He didn't have time to ask what happened and immediately ran out to call the nurse. When the nurse saw what Yi Er had vomited, her face changed. She didn't care if Jiang Zhao was the mayor or not. After all, this Mrs. Jiang had scared everyone in the hospital. Mayor Jiang, how can you give Mrs. Jiang meat? Yi Er was shocked. Was it because she ate meat and vomited? This time, she didn't even have any water in her stomach. She looked at Jiang Zhao pitifully. Jiang Zhao couldn't bear to scold her, and he took all the blame from the nurse. The nurse was also proud of herself. She didn't expect to find such an opportunity to scold the mayor. Although private hospitals provided better services and were more people-oriented, the nurse had been serving the rich for a long time, and she suddenly got the chance to order the rich around. She was still in high spirits, even after she left the ward to prepare the medicine for Yi Er. This time, Yi Er didn't dare to ask for more meat. Jiang Zhao reheated the remaining rice soup in a microwave. When it was not too hot, he took it out. Yi Er finished the ghee guy. Half an hour later, she took the medicine again. She didn't want the medicine to stick to her throat and drank it in 3 portions. Jiang Zhao felt that something was wrong with Yi Er. He couldn't tell what was wrong. Her personality seemed to have changed. She had lost her memory when she was in the car. But that was not the case. She knew everyone and remembered everyone. She didn't wake up and ask him who he was. Her actions and tone were similar to before. But her IQ seemed to have changed. Was she stupid? Unlike in the past, she would think of everything she said and did. Although there were times when she embarrassed herself, she was still young and normal. But now, she didn't think of anything she said and did whatever she wanted. She was not stupid. She knew that she had made Feng Yu unhappy and would try to please him like before. Even if she did something wrong, she would use her actions to show that she was wrong and stop talking back. This proved that she was not stupid. Could it be that she had slept for more than 20 days and did not use her brain? That's why her cerebellum was temporarily tired. Feng Yu could accept it if she was tired, but he couldn't accept her being so close to Xiyun Wu. Beauty novel Songshu 566. Chapter 585. Jiang Zhao was still thinking about this even after he fell asleep. He wondered if he should give Yi Er an X-ray or something like that, until Yi Er sneaked onto the bed beside him and hugged him. Damn it! He was afraid of touching her, so he slept on the bed beside her. In the end, she wasn't afraid at all. She even hugged him. The bed is small, and the two of us take up too much space. We can't sleep well. You can sleep over there. She was a patient, so his voice should be as gentle as possible. No, I want to sleep like this. Yi Er stubbornly believed that a husband and wife should not sleep in separate beds. However, Yi Er's medicine contained some sedative Western medicine, so it was especially easy for her to get sleepy. Once she fell asleep, it was as though she was dead. The next morning, Jiang Zhao still had to put up a sturdy little tent around his crotch. Yi Er woke up and mumbled, "Hey, why didn't you give me a morning kiss today? Did you forget? Don't you have to go to work?" Jiang Zhao sighed. "I'm still asleep, aren't I?" But it wasn't a solution if he couldn't remember. If he continued to sleep like this, there would be problems. Perhaps it was because they hadn't had sex for more than 20 days, so the little tent made Jiang Zhao feel very awkward. After kissing Yi Er, he turned around and got off the bed. His back was still facing Yi Er. When he reached the end of the bed, he even walked sideways into the bathroom like a crab. He immediately locked the door and took a cold shower. Jiang Zhao was a calculative person. Ever since he was born, the word calculative had never disappeared from his life. In the past, when Yi Er wasn't awake, he had to go to work. Now that Yi Er was awake, he was even more in the mood to work. However, Shi Yin's appearance yesterday put him on guard. Yi Er's personality was a little strange now. She wasn't as easy to deal with as before. Even if she was easy to deal with, he didn't dare to casually force her. He also didn't dare to bite her until she had a high fever and was hospitalized like last time. He couldn't do it the hard way, but he couldn't bring himself to do it the soft way. What if Shi Yinwu really seduced her with me today? He suspected that her IQ had returned to that of a 2- or 3-year-old. At least, that was what he thought yesterday. After Jiang Zhao finished showering, he asked Yi Er to wash her face and brush her teeth while he waited for the servants to deliver breakfast. Today, he wanted to eat with her. While Yi Er was in the bathroom, Jiang Zhao went to look for the caregivers and nurses. He told them that they had to take good care of his wife today. He reminded his wife not to eat meat, and that it would be best to make the consequences sound serious. Even so, Jiang Zhao was still worried. Qing Su woke up before Yi Er. Because her lungs were seriously injured, she couldn't get out of bed and run around like Yi Er. When Jiang Zhao appeared in Qing Su's room, Min Hongsheng had just left. Qing Su was sitting on the bed with her back against the headboard pillow. She was playing Plants vs. Zombies on her iPad. Jiang Zhao sat down beside Qing Su's bed. "Qing Su, are you feeling better?" Qing Su logged out of the game. Her face still had some baby fat, but when she smiled, the two beautiful dimples on her cheeks looked very sweet. She nodded. "I'm much better. Where's older sister Yi Er?" Jiang Zhao knew that Qing Su was very different from Min Zikai. At least, Qing Su was innocent. Even if she wasn't, the fact that she dared to chase after the criminals for Yi Er's sake showed that she had a good relationship with Yi Er. Handing this mission to Qing Su should be able to succeed. She's much better now. She can get out of bed now. I'll ask her to come and play with you later. Okay? Really? That's great. I was just thinking that it was boring to sleep in the hospital every day. But you guys better not eat meat secretly. Last night, my heart softened and I gave her a piece. She vomited until she was a mess. I can take supplements now. It shouldn't be a problem to eat some meat, right? Jiang Zhao also knew that it was not right to lie to a 17-year-old girl like this, but his wife's sovereignty was a big issue. Other moral principles could be set aside. If he had nothing to do and stayed here every day, it would be fine, but he still had to feed his family, right? She'll probably be able to eat tonight. Wait until I get off work. She just vomited yesterday, so I don't dare to take the risk. Qing Su's attitude towards Jiang Zhao was completely different from her attitude towards family men. If Min Zikai saw this, he would probably vomit blood in anger. That's true. It seems that her stomach is quite weak. It's okay. Ask her to come and find me, or I can go and find her. I'll ask her to come and find you. Your lungs haven't fully recovered yet. If you move around too much, it'll be troublesome. After she has breakfast, I'll ask her to come over. Jiang Zhao continued to be shameless. After careful consideration, he felt that it was useless to just remind her. It was better to let Yi Er play with Qing Su all the time. Even if Shi Yinwu came, he would not be able to find Yi Er. Naturally, he would ask the nurse to bring Qing Su's medicine and change the bedding. All right. He also reminded the nurse not to reveal Yi Er's whereabouts to the public. With someone accompanying her, Qing Su was naturally happy. She nodded happily. Okay. The moment Jiang Zhao stepped out of Qing Su's ward, he immediately put away his humble and friendly expression and smirked evilly. When he entered Yi Er's ward, his mother was already setting up breakfast. Yi Er was sitting at the table, waiting to eat porridge. Jiang Zhao walked over and sat down at the table to the left of Yi Er. He took the chopsticks from his mother and said, "Thank you, Auntie Li." His mother smiled and said, "What are you thanking me for? You guys eat first. I'll clean up later." With that, she walked out of the room. Yi Er picked up a piece of dried radish for Jiang Zhao. "Luo, this is your favorite. Have you finished all the dried radish at home? If you have, I'll ask the kitchen to get some more when we go back to Grandpa's house. Also, I haven't eaten breakfast at home for a while." "Jiang Zhao, am I seriously ill? I asked just now and found out that I've been asleep for more than 20 days. Dad and Si Jia must be worried, right?" Jiang Zhao tightened his grip on his chopsticks. He was unhappy But he also found it ridiculous that he would be jealous of his father-in-law and Jia. It was only human nature. He had been worried that his father-in-law would not be able to take the agitation due to his old age, so he did not allow him to come over to keep watch at night. Moreover, his father-in-law had been hospitalized because of a myocardial infarction. If he were to collapse, this family would not have peace. Because of this, he had even applied for leave from Jia's school and asked the driver to send Jia home every day. She knew that her father-in-law and Jia would be worried, but did she not know that he would be worried? She felt a little stifled. She was thinking about the bigger picture and did not want to argue. Dad and the others are fine. You're not seriously ill either. You're fine now, but... Yi'er asked, but what? Jiang Zhao said, you were in a car accident. Do you still remember what happened? Yi'er lowered her head. Yeah, I went to buy crabs and was taken away. After that, a lot of things happened. It was a little chaotic. It was so chaotic that she did not want to piece it together. Yi'er instinctively rejected the thought of remembering what happened back then. Every time she recalled it, it would feel like she was experiencing it all again. She knew that she had died once, so after she woke up, she was especially concerned about the feeling of being alive. Since she was alive, she did not want to think about the past that made her feel worse than death. For example, the blood that covered her face, the disappointment and despair that attacked her again and again. She knew that she had been kidnapped, but she refused to think about what happened after she got into the car. She even wanted to get rid of all these memories. Getting rid of the things that made her sad and painful was the meaning of being alive. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi'er's eyes were dark and gloomy. She had a lot on her mind. Should he not mention it? If he did not mention it, how could he let her go to Qing Su's place? He gritted his teeth and felt that he was being too cruel. Yi'er, if it wasn't for Qing Su blocking the car of the person who kidnapped you and even ramming her car into it, you wouldn't have been in a coma for 20 days. Lulu. Yi'er was stunned. The person who had chased after her car that day was not Min Zikai, but Qing Su. It was actually Qing Su. She did not want to think about it at first, but there was someone who told her that one should not be ungrateful. After that, her memories started to come back to her. Qing Su, the fiery red Qian, and the fresh green willow branches appeared in her mind. After that, her memories started to piece together. As she pieced them together, her shoulders started to tremble. Her whole body was shaking, and her tears fell like rain. Her voice was weak and broken. I know. If it wasn't for Lulu, I would have been chopped into minced meat and fed to the fish. She was terrified. At that time, she was terrified. Even now, when she thought about it, she still could not escape that feeling. There were some things that made one's legs weak when they were experiencing it, but after experiencing it, one's spirit would be shattered. Jiang Zhao suddenly regretted it. He wished that she was still a little silly like yesterday. Chopped into minced meat and fed to the fish? Would she be threatened and frightened like this? To think that he did not think that there was any change in her after she woke up. Just one sentence from him was enough to agitate her to this extent. He quickly put down the chopsticks in his hand and moved the stool over to sit beside Yi'er. Jiang Zhao stretched out his arm and hugged Yi'er's shaky shoulders. Yin Yi, don't cry. Everything is fine now. Everything is fine. Where's Lulu? Yi'er felt even more upset. She thought to herself that since she woke up yesterday, she had been so heartless that she did not ask about the person who saved her because she refused to remember anything. She was already so seriously injured and had been in a coma for 20 days. Then what about Qing Su? Was it even more serious? Jiang Zhao listened to Yi'er sniffling nonstop and thought to himself that he should take the day off so that she would not be agitated. However, Yi'er continued to ask, I know that there was a car that kept chasing after the car that kidnapped me that day, but I didn't know it was her. I thought it was Min Zikai. My car crashed really hard, and I even hit my head against the car that kidnapped me a few times. I know everything. I can feel it. Yi'er covered her face. Tears flowed out between her fingers, and her sobs sounded a little suppressed. She's fine, Jiang Zhao said against his will. He hugged Yi'er even tighter. Should he get her a psychiatrist? The difference in her mood from yesterday was too great. It was so great that he couldn't recover from the fact that she had used all sorts of methods to get him to eat meat yesterday. Ah Zhao. Ye reached out to cover her face and hugged Jiang Zhao. She sank into his embrace. Don't lie to me. While I was in the car, I heard that man curse a few times. F***CK, do you want to die? There's no way she'll get better. Ah Zhao, tell me. Ye started to suspect that there was something she didn't want to recall. Ah Zhao. It sounded so natural to call her that. It sounded so heartfelt. Hadn't she been using him all this time? Hadn't she been trying to please him against her will? Songshu 566. Chapter 586. Jiang Zhao hesitated again and again. If he didn't tell her, she would definitely be upset. Qing Su was an optimistic girl, as though nothing was a big deal to her. If Ye saw Qing Su's current state, she would definitely feel less guilty. She's staying next door. She woke up before you. Ye looked up at Jiang Zhao. Really? Then I'll go and see her. I don't know if she'll blame me for not visiting her until now. She won't blame you. You just woke up too. Jiang Zhao rubbed Ye's little face. The more he rubbed it, the softer his heart felt, just like her face. Okay, I'll tell the nurse later to inject your medicine. You can play with Qing Su until I get off work. She's bored too, so I went over to see her playing Plants vs. Zombies. I'll bring 2 computers over later, and you can play games together. Sure, since I can't be discharged, it's good to have company. Lulu and I have quite a lot of fun. Jiang Zhao sighed. After the 2 of them finished eating, Jiang Zhao arranged for Yi to be sent to the room next door. He even told the nurses not to reveal his wife's whereabouts to the public. Qing Su was indeed a very optimistic girl. When Yi asked her how she was, she laughed and said, Haha, what do you mean by how I'm doing? I'm already fine. Didn't I just hit my chest on the steering wheel and a rib pierced my lung? It's already been pulled out. I think I'll be able to be discharged in a few days. When Yi heard this, she was so agitated that her face turned pale. What? A rib pierced her lung? How weak was the lung? She actually laughed and said, Lulu. Yi sat on the bed with the bedding changed. Her computer was placed on the table beside the bed. She had just turned it on when the music started playing. However, her voice was not as smooth as the background music of the computer, and it was trembling. Lulu, you actually suffered such a serious injury. Yi could not continue playing the game. She was only unconscious and scared, but Qing Su's ribs were broken and her lungs were injured. Jiang Zhao lied to her that Qing Su was fine, and Qing Su herself said she was fine. When Qing Su saw Yi biting her lip and about to cry, she spat in her heart. Didn't Jiang Zhao tell Yi? Did she say too much? Good heavens. Yi, how did you become like this? You're always crying. I can't stand you. Did you become a resentful woman after you got married? Is that why you pee all the time? What horse pee? Yi was still feeling sad when he realized that the person he was sad about was looking down on him. Horse pee? She was shedding tears. Qing Su was a girl who had been swindling and cheating with her mother since she was young. Although she had stayed in the Min family for a few years, she still spoke some rascally words. Yi was stunned. She wanted to laugh out loud, but she was afraid that it would hurt her lungs, so she could only chuckle. Don't you know that if you cry too much, it will become urine? And it's horse pee. It's really big. Do you know about horses? It's really big. Yi was touched, sad, upset, and guilty. All of her negative emotions were suppressed after Qing Su said that her tears were horse pee. She could not cry in front of Jiang Zhao anymore. If she cried too much, it would be pee. Qing Su sat on her bed. Just like Yi, the computer that Jiang Zhao brought over was placed on the table in front of her. She raised her head and glanced at Yi's computer. Come on, let's play 2 rounds. Let's play. LOL is a game from Tencent. League of Legends, LOL, haha. Yin was sitting in Jiang Zhao's office. Jiang Zhao was handling official business. Yin was sitting on the sofa in the reception area, quietly reading the newspaper. She seemed to be very patient, but from time to time, she would raise her wrist to look at her watch, revealing her mood. Jiang Zhao approved the documents and pressed the secretary line once. Lu Chang, come in. Get someone to send the documents to the 7th floor. He hung up the phone and opened another file. It was as if Yin was not even sitting in the office. Yin did not mind, but she would occasionally knock on the coffee cup to make a little noise. She wanted to attract Jiang Zhao's attention, but she did not want him to think that she was the one who spoke first. Jiang Zhao lowered his head. His eyes moved quickly through the open file. He spun the pen in his hand quickly, swapping the position of the tip of the pen and the end of the pen. The end of the pen stopped at the key point in his eyes. He tapped it again and again, as if he was thinking about something. Yin could not help but sigh. Jiang Zhao's voice was heard. Yun, don't you have to go to work today? Yin was delighted. She looked up and saw that Jiang Zhao was still buried in the file. She bit her lip, stood up, and sat opposite him. After all, he was the one who spoke first. It would be better to find a suitable position to talk. I applied for leave. Applied for leave? The Shen Hospital is very open-minded. You allow people to apply for leave so easily? Jiang Zhao asked 2 questions, but he did not raise his head to look at Yin. Yin had always been dressed plainly. Because of her good condition, she was like a lotus from clear water, a natural carving. There was no need for her to chase after fashion. It was precisely because her beauty was natural and refined that her expression and actions had always been like that of a fairy. It was even more so in front of Jiang Zhao. She wanted to be angry, but she forcefully suppressed her anger. I want to talk to you about something. Go ahead, Jiang Zhao said lightly. Do you hate me here? Yin exhaled and said this gently. Jiang Zhao looked up and smiled. You actually came here to talk to me about this. The next time I see your Dean Shun, I have to have a good talk with him about the attendance of civil servants. This won't do. He can't mess around with the party building. Last time, he wanted to find trouble with me. Looks like I can take revenge. Yin was a little angry at the beginning, but now she was furious. Jiang Zhao clearly knew that Shun Kai had pursued her in university. Now, he actually mentioned this person without any ill feelings. She had always been arrogant. She bit her lips and did not voice out her dissatisfaction. At least, she felt that now was not the time. I'm here to talk to you about Yin Hongwei. I think you should do something about it. Jiang Zhao put down his pen, leaned back, and smiled. Because several of Yin Hongwei's cases are related to your family, Ouyang, right? During the tsunami, almost all of the pineapples were bought out and later sold to a mahogany furniture manufacturer at a high price. But the loan was approved by your uncle. Also, Yin Hongwei's case in 2003 was obviously going to blow up, but was suppressed by the provincial TV station head through his connections. And for the station head to be promoted, your father contributed a lot. Jiang Zhao, you actually know about it. Ouyang Yan's face changed. You know about it, but you only care about me now. Beauty novel Songshu 566. Chapter 587. Pretentious. Jiang Zhao smiled. Yun, since the Ouyang family is also involved in this matter, why do I have to take care of it alone? Ouyang Yin was stunned. What do you mean? Are you saying that you don't want to take care of it? It's better to deal with this matter impartially. In my position, I can't bend the law for personal gain, even if it's my father, let alone my father-in-law. Right? We both graduated from law school. Don't tell me that Yun doesn't understand this principle. If Yin Hongwei goes in, Yin Yu will blame you. Does it matter? She's my wife. If her father is innocent, he naturally won't go in. But if he uses unorthodox means and gets in, will this account be blamed on me? What is this? Logic? Are you determined not to take care of it? The law has its own fair place. If we destroy this fairness artificially, it's unfair to the people, isn't it? Ouyang Yin held her forehead. Her dignified and reserved manner was about to be exhausted. The recording pen in her bag was still running. She didn't expect that nothing useful would be recorded. She had always thought that Jiang Zhao didn't guard against her. At least, as long as she didn't mention his marriage and Yun Ye's feelings for her, he still had a special kind of feelings for her. Second brother, Someone wants to make a big deal out of this matter. If you help Yin Hongwei, you'll also help me. Ouyang Yin spoke softly. The title second brother had always belonged to her. Even when they were intimate lovers, she still called him that. Every time she saw him, she tried to use this title to tell him that they had a past, and a glorious past. Jiang Zhao glanced at the electronic sensor under the table and shook his head. Yun Yun, the innocent will be cleared of this matter. No one can help each other. Go back early. After Ouyang, Yin left for a while, Jiang Zhao remained silent. How serious was the situation? That was why the Ouyang Yin tried to record some of his words to threaten him. Who was the one causing trouble recently? He did not know if he would still be in a mood to return to Jiang District to hold the wedding banquet. Jiang Zhao had called Yun Hongwei last night to tell him that Yi Er had woken up. Yun Hongwei had originally planned to visit Yi Er early in the morning. Later, Jiang Zhao called and said that Yi Er was staying in the ward next door today. He would call him when he went over. She received a call from Yun Hongwei, saying that they had arrived at the hospital. Yesterday, she forgot to ask about the ward next door. Jiang Zhao said that it was on the right side. When Yun Hongwei found Yi Er, there were 3 people in the room: Yi Er, Qing Su, and Unwu. Yi Er felt that she had lost 2 rounds to Qing Su. The main reason was that she had slept a little longer than Qing Su, and her brain had not been trained. Unwu saw that Yi Er was a little unconvinced. In front of Qing Su, he did not speak to Yi Er in a doting tone. Instead, he spoke in a light tone like a friend. Then wait until your brain is better before playing. Qing Su shook her head proudly. Unwu, why don't we play a few rounds? How about that? Sure, but I'm not skilled. You have to give in to me. Qing Su burst into laughter. Aren't you embarrassed? As a man, you should ask a woman to give in to you. How dare you say that? Aren't you embarrassed? Unwu glanced at Yi Er and shrugged at Qing Su, who was smiling. What's the matter? You guys are so fierce, so I can't be fierce. Besides, I've never played before. If you don't give in to me, even if you win, you won't have any face. Yinwu's words were indeed useful to the 17-year-old Qing Su. Fine, let's play. I'll give in to you. Go and create a team. When Unwu was playing the game, Yi Er was very close to him. She thought that she could guide him, but she did not expect a man to be so sensitive to games. Perhaps it was not that Unwu did not know how to play. Yun Hongwei knocked on the door and heard the girl inside shout impatiently, "Come in." When he entered the door, he saw that the 3 of them were engrossed in the game. Unwu and Yi Er sat on the same bed. The table was not big, so the 2 of them were quite close. Yi Er was engrossed in the game and was already kneeling beside Unwu. She bent her elbow and did not mind supporting herself on Yunwu's shoulder. This way, she was much higher than Yunwu's head. Unwu, why are you so good? Are you trying to avenge me? Ha! Yunwu's mouse and keyboard worked well together. Feeling the beauty relying on him, he was in an exceptionally good mood. He did not mean to step back in her life. It was Jiang Zhao who did not know how to take care of her. It was she who suddenly became close to him, as if they had never left Wudong Street. He really wanted to hurry to the beginning of the summer and get a bicycle. He would ride the bicycle while she would sit behind. They would go and drink tea that cost 10 yuan and could be refilled endlessly. Unwu laughed. Yes, I'll take revenge for you. No one can touch you. Unwu himself did not notice it. When he said this, he was clearly smiling. Qing Su and Yun Hongwei, who had just entered, were shocked by the domineering tone in his words. Yi Er did not notice anything strange. She had known Unwu for too long. He could transform from a fallen painter to a rich young master. What else could he not say? Yun Hongwei saw Yi Er leaning on a man's shoulder without any taboo. He coughed. Yi Er looked up. When she saw Yun Hongwei, she chuckled. Dad, why are you here? I thought it was a nurse. Unwu could not stop now. Yi Er wanted him to win, but out of courtesy, he had to greet Yun Hongwei. He quickly looked up and smiled warmly. Hello, Uncle Yun. When Yun Hongwei saw Yunwu's warm and clean smile, he suddenly felt that he was overthinking things. But why was Yi Er treating him like this? It was just like 20 days ago at home. Didn't she know how much Dad missed her? If it weren't for the fact that she needed to rest after she woke up, he would have come over last night. He was also afraid that Jiang Zhao would say that he was worried for nothing. In fact, he was very afraid of putting pressure on Jiang Zhao. Ye, come over here. It's not good to bully Unwu like this. It's okay, Uncle Yun. Ye just wants to have a good time. She's lost too many times. She's pinned her hopes on me. She's just hoping that I can win one round. She's not bullying me. Unwu naturally did not want Ye to leave him just because of a few words from Yun Hongwei. This kind of happiness was practically stolen. However, Qing Su was unhappy. As she operated the mouse and keyboard, she said in an impatient and rebellious tone, "Uncle Yun, don't be so annoying, young man. It's just a game. My dad has never cared about how many rounds I play. Ye is already married, so there's no need to be so strict with her. It's not like she's an elementary school student who doesn't have self-control and is afraid of being addicted to the internet, right? We're having fun right now." When Qing Su said this, she did not even raise her head. However, it immediately made Yun Hongwei feel embarrassed. In the past, he also did not care about Ye. Young people should have some fun. However, Ye was married, and the person she married was not an ordinary man. It was Jiang Zhao, a man with a political background. How could she put her arm around another male friend's shoulder like this? Ye, are you feeling better? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Yun Hongwei had never been able to get angry, especially towards his children. When he said this, he had already walked to Ye's side. He took her hand and squeezed it in the palm of his hand. In the past, he was also there during the day. Other than accompanying Si Jie at home during the weekend, he would also hold her hand like this. However, now her hand was clearly much warmer. Without the cold liquid, it was indeed much better. Ye knelt a little straighter. She turned around and hugged Yun Hongwei's neck. "Dad, I'm much better. Don't worry. Don't keep thinking about me all the time. Didn't I just sleep for a few days?" In Ye's own consciousness, she did not sleep for long. It was just that something happened before she went to sleep. When she woke up, her husband was by her side. The next day, her father came over. Unwu felt the pressure on his shoulders suddenly disappear. His heart suddenly felt empty, and all his thoughts were gone. Yun Hongwei saw Ye hugging him, so he quickly carried Ye up to prevent her from continuing to get close to Unwu. Ye's hearty laughter filled the room. Qing Su turned her head and happened to see the warm interaction between the father and daughter. Her eyebrows suddenly straightened and darkened. The layout and decoration of the house were the same as Ye's ward. Yun Hongwei carried Ye to the table by the window and asked her some trivial things. Ye told Yun Hongwei about the meat incident yesterday. Ye was very regretful that Unwu did not bring her meat today. He brought her a vegetarian chicken. Vegetarian chicken was clearly tofu, but he insisted on calling it vegetarian chicken. However, Yin was clear-eyes told her that this was his first time buying takeout. He did not know that vegetarian chicken was tofu and not a real chicken. In fact, Unwu had been conflicted about this matter for a long time. A patient who had just started eating could not eat meat. At least, he had to wait until tonight. However, he did not want to disappoint Ye, so he told a white lie. Qing Su was completely attracted by the interaction between Ye and Yun Hongwei. Ye's smile told everyone that she was happy. The game could not continue. Whether it was Qing Su or Unwu, both of them seemed to have reached a tacit agreement to stop the war and withdraw. Unwu was a likable boy, especially when he took off his suit and put on casual clothes. He was clean, elegant, and beautiful. As long as he was willing to smile at you, he could definitely buy you over. Qing Su felt that with Unwu and Ye here, it was much livelier. However, Yun Hongwei was an elder. If he was her father, it would be fine. However, he was Ye's father. If she treated Yun Hongwei like how she treated Min Hongsheng, Ye would definitely think that she was uneducated. In fact, she knew everything. In the end, she asked the nurse for 2 sets of poker cards and suggested that the 4 of them play double Q. Unwu said that they would draw lots, and he would deal the cards. In the end, he and Ye were opponents, while Yun Hongwei and Qing Su were opponents. As it was too boring to stay in the hospital, they also suggested gambling. Although the stakes were not very high, it could still arouse people's enthusiasm. Unwoo was always able to control the tides and not let anyone feel bored because they kept losing. Jiang Zhao rushed to the hospital after work. After knocking on the door and entering the room, he saw Yi Er holding a poker card and angrily reaching out to hit Unwoo. This kind of play was too intimate, add Shinwoo 799. Chapter 588. Yin Hongwei smiled knowingly. Be careful when you go downstairs. Although the doctor said that you're fine, you're still under observation. I'll eat and go back slowly. Don't worry about me. Yi Er took out the gloves and scarf that Jiang Zhao had prepared for her from the wardrobe. Okay, Dad. Call me when you get home. Okay. Go quickly. Yi Er left the inpatient department and left a voicemail message for Jiang Zhao to ask where he was. Her intuition told her that he had gone to the north of the city. She did not receive a reply, so she walked all the way to the north of the city, hoping that she could wait for a message while walking. She also wanted to deny that he had gone to the north of the city. The private hospital was not in a prime location. It was relatively remote, but the environment was very good. In summer, the trees were lush and cool. In winter, although Yi Er had withered and only branches were left, it still looked very lively under the streetlights. In winter, there was often a thick fog at night in Haicheng. One could not see everything around them clearly. They relied on the streetlights to connect the sidewalks to guide the pedestrians. After a few text messages, Yi Er quickly took 2 deep breaths. In the thick fog, her breath seemed even clearer and heavier. She covered her ears with her gloved hands and rubbed them. She stomped her feet on the spot and took out her phone. She saw the name, My Husband, on the envelope. He changed it himself, right? What husband? She quickly took off her gloves. The moment she came out of the warm gloves, she touched the phone screen. It was cold. There were 2 words, seductive charm. Seductive charm? Jiang Zhao had gone to seductive charm? If he wanted a drink, he might as well go to Peerless Beauty. After all, that kind of place was confidential and the environment was good. It was suitable for someone of his status. Oh, right. There were many women in seductive charm. Yi Er bit her lip and wanted to slap herself. Yesterday, her nerves had short-circuited and would not be short-circuited forever. She had to beat herself back to her original state in a few hours. What did he mean by being so straightforward with her? Did he tell her not to be nosy, or did he say that she did not have a right to ask? Even if she did not have a right, she had to ask, right? Anyway, he should not have any objections if she pretended to ask casually, right? Anyway, he had always been so arrogant. Even if he went to Ouyang Yan's place, he would still let Ouyang Yan answer the phone. As if there were people around, her slightly flat almond-shaped eyes looked around alertly. Hey, which room are you playing in? I might have an acquaintance there, so I can give you a discount. He coughed to encourage himself and pretended that he had nothing to do. After replying, he looked at the foggy night sky and looked left and right at the cars coming and going, hoping that there would be a taxi with a green light on the roof that flashed the words empty. He stood at the intersection and reached out to hail a taxi. His hand was a little cold, so he retracted it and rubbed it. He felt that it was all bones. He didn't know if Jiang Zhao would say that he didn't feel anything when he touched it. When he saw a car coming from diagonally opposite, he quickly stretched out his hand and shouted, "Taxi! Taxi!" The taxi turned left and turned around. When it stopped beside Yi Er chuckled in relief. He shrunk his neck, opened the back seat door, and got in. "Master, sorry to trouble you." The driver took countless young people to various bars every day. Okay. The driver asked for Yi Er's opinion. At this time, the roads with fewer people were not congested, but they had to take a detour. The roads that didn't take a detour were now congested. Yi Er said, "If you want to take a detour, then so be it." With cars, he really didn't know if a 5-minute drive would take 50 minutes. When the car arrived outside Charming Club, she received a message from Jiang Zhao. It was a distant message. "Thank you, 316. After paying the taxi, Yi Er felt a little dizzy as soon as he got out of the car. Firstly, he had been hospitalized for a long time, and his body had not fully recovered. Secondly, The air conditioner was on in the car, so it was stuffy. She stood at the door and breathed for a while. She let down her ponytail and placed it beside her face. When she lowered her head, her face couldn't be seen clearly. She also adjusted her scarf and pulled it up high, only revealing her eyes. After entering Charming Club, she said to the waiter wearing a golden vest, "I have an appointment, 316. The waiter led Yier through all kinds of people. Yier looked at the men and women who brushed past her and sized her up as if she was a monster. It was winter outside. Inside, she was wearing hot pants, a short skirt, and a camisole. Her outfit was clearly a monster among monsters. Outside the private room, 316, the waiter gently knocked on the door and pushed it open to lead Yier in. The private room was not big, and the extravagance of the decoration was not at the same level as that of Peerless Beauty. It was a little more high-end than the mass-produced karaoke. The sofa was black leather, but it was unknown whether it was real leather or PU. Jiang Zhao's suit and sweater when he arrived at the hospital that night had been thrown away somewhere. A woman was sitting next to him. It was Ouyang Yin. She was talking to Jiang Zhao about something. The weather outside was cold. Ouyang Yin had probably taken off her jacket. She was wearing an OL houndstooth dress with 9/4 sleeves. It was not a sexy style. In fact, it was very conservative. The length of the dress was above her knees. However, the cut was very close to her body and it wrapped around her good figure. Yier, who had slept for more than 20 days, had lost some weight. The clothes she wore before looked a little empty. Yier thought to herself that she had not had time to dress up after leaving the house in a hurry. She had really made a fool of herself. Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yin did not avoid suspicion and lowered their heads to talk. They were very congenial. He felt like an outsider. Jiang Zhao looked up and saw Yier standing at the door. It would have been better if he did not see her. Once he saw her, he was full of anger. He did not even want to see her for a few days. He did not expect her to come. It was just that she asked, and he just answered. She even said that he was looking for someone to give him a discount. Who cared? He did not expect her to come looking for him. He was a little happy. But if she really came, he could not be nice to her. He said to Ouyang Yin, "Let's stop here today. Come to my office tomorrow." Ouyang Yin naturally noticed Yier. She caught the flames of anger in Jiang Zhao's eyes. She caught the woman standing at the door, clenching her fist tightly, but not daring to come forward. She caught a series of her lack of confidence. She was caught off guard and gently kissed Jiang Zhao's face. She laughed softly. "It's just a kiss. Your wife won't be jealous, right?" When Jiang Zhao instinctively wanted to avoid it, he caught a glimpse of Yier suddenly and deliberately turned her head away. She did not even look in his direction. She wanted to pretend that she did not see anything. He let Ouyang Yin kiss him lightly on his cheek. When Yier turned around and thought about the interaction between her and Shi Unwu, she also gave him a kiss on the cheek. Then, she held Ouyang Yin's arm in a gentlemanly manner and smiled. "I'll send you off." Ouyang Yin was overjoyed and could not calm down. She smiled shyly. "Okay." She ignored Yier and walked to a corner of the private room. She took Jiang Zhao's coat and sweater from the wooden clothes rack. She took the sweater and handed it to Jiang Zhao. Yier did not hear Jiang Zhao whisper to Ouyang Yin, "I'll send you off." Her intuition told her that the two of them felt that she had ruined the atmosphere and wanted to find another place to talk. Look at how intimate they were. They even kissed in front of her. Luckily, she had always been immune to it. Anyway, a kiss was not a big deal. At most, she would find an opportunity to kiss them back. She would just take it that Jiang Zhao was bitten by a stray dog. Yier saw Ouyang Yin's action of taking Jiang Zhao's coat and thought carefully. Something was wrong. If she continued to stand there, it would not be appropriate for her to act like a wife. Hence, she raised her head and puffed out her chest. Jiang Zhao's sweater to work was a cowl collar. Yier was taller than Ouyang Yin. She took the sweater from Jiang Zhao's hand and put it on Jiang Zhao's head. Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yin were both stunned. Jiang Zhao thought to himself, what is she doing? Why is she still looking for him? Isn't she eager for him to leave? She came looking for him after he left? She even helped him put on his clothes? Who cares? Yi Er adjusted Jiang Zhao's collar so that it looked more melon. She then pulled the hem of his shirt and said gently, "Hubby, I know someone at Seductive Charm. I'll give her a call later and ask her to give us a discount. The money we save can be used to pay for the utility bills. Although we don't lack that money, there's a lot of accumulated water. My dad said that we have to be careful with our spending in a marriage. I don't think we should be disdainful of household expenses like the utility bills." Jiang Zhao almost burst out laughing, but Yi Er didn't find it funny. Laugh? What's there to laugh about? You can't even cry. She didn't even look at Ouyang Yen. She just thought that there was a table beside her, and her husband's clothes were on that table. She was just familiar with the position of the table and casually took it. Take it? Forget it. She couldn't take it. There was double-sided tape on the table. She could only pull hard and pull her husband's suit off the table with double-sided tape. She pinched her shoulders and shook them gently. She chanted in her heart, "Shake off the moldy air, shake off the seductive air, shake off the coquettish air, shake off the Ouyang Yen." Then she unfolded the collar of the suit and let Jiang Zhao put his hands into the sleeves of the suit. Jiang Zhao's mind was still thinking about those things. After he left, how long did Shi Unwu stay? It shouldn't have been long. It wasn't too late now. The important thing was what happened during the day. Other than playing cards, what else did they play? Look at how intimate the two of them were. It was as if they grew up naked together. They didn't even think about their own identities. Jiang Zhao's arms refused to unfold. He refused to cooperate with Yi Er's solicitude. He glared at her and said, "Yunyi, what are you doing here? Are you crazy?" Yi Er's originally bright and guilty smile crumbled under Jiang Zhao's cold interrogative tone. She was so embarrassed that she couldn't laugh. It was still okay in the past. Jiang Zhao didn't throw a tantrum in front of the Ouyang Yen. Her position as the official wife was still intact. Now, the master was giving the official wife a hard time in front of the concubine. Wouldn't the concubine become arrogant? Wouldn't she ride on top of her head? As expected, Ouyang Yan's extremely gentle smile was exceptionally vicious in Yi Er's eyes. She smiled and said, "Second brother, Yi Er is worried about you. She's probably afraid that you'll drink too much outside and affect your health. We didn't drink much today. We're just chatting. Why don't you explain to Yi Er?" Jiang Zhao sneered in his heart. Forget it. She was worried about him. She was just worried that he would die or be demoted. He was no longer useful to her. Explain? Why did she need an explanation? As she thought about this, she felt even worse after being analyzed by herself. It was fine if she didn't think about it. The more she thought about it, the more she cared. How did she live when she didn't care about him in the past? She had already forgotten that feeling. She missed it too much. Yi Er also knew that Ouyang Yan's seemingly gentle exterior was burning with determination to fight with her. However, Ouyang Yan was a much more experienced woman. She said good things in front of Jiang Zhao to show her grace and magnanimity. Ouyang Yan had told her this before, so it wasn't strange. She was just experiencing it now. Attention, Xinwu 799. Chapter 589. Look, she was such a considerate, gentle, and kind mistress. If she was late, her position with Ouyang Yin might have been swapped. Jiang Zhao might have married Ouyang Yin, and she would be the one living in the north of the city. But Grandpa Deng had said that a white cat or a black cat was a good cat if it caught mice. Although there were many problems after the reform, the gears of history would still move forward. Although she and Jiang Zhao had a lot of conflicts after they got married, her father was right. She knew about the ancient sayings between husband and wife. "I'm sick. It's not like you don't know that I'm sick. There seems to be something wrong with my brain. I'm mentally deranged. I am crazy." Yi Er hated that Jiang Zhao did not leave any leeway for her in front of Ouyang Yan. Although she hated Jiang Zhao, now that she remembered those wishes that she did not want to remember, she could only go through fire and water for those wishes. Anyway, even if I become crazy, I am still Mrs. Jiang. I'm still not Mayor Jiang's crazy Mrs. Jiang. So what if you have something to say? Yi looked at Jiang Zhao when she was talking. Her neck was straightened. She had lost a lot of weight, and her neck was slimmer. She looked weak. But you must not look at her eyes. Her eyes were filled with stubbornness and determination. She was still holding the suit in her hand. She looked like she would not put it down if Jiang Zhao did not wear it. In Yi's eyes, it was not about wearing the suit or not. This was a status that she wanted to fight for. She could not care less about Jiang Zhao's past. She could not care less about how many women he had in the past. She also could not care less about whether she was in his heart or not. What she wanted now was a status that she must have in front of this arrogant love rival. She had acted coquettishly, acted cute, and acted pitiful. She had already told Jiang Zhao that there was something wrong with her brain. She was afraid that she had lost her brain. If Jiang Zhao was not satisfied with her, did not sympathize with her, and did not pity her, she would never be able to hold her head up high in front of Ouyang Yin. If he couldn't raise his head, it meant that he probably wouldn't have the chance to go to the apartment in the north of the city to snatch her away. Ouyang Yin said that Jiang Zhao didn't drink. They were just chatting and having fun. Jiang Zhao drank a lot at the beginning. He was obviously in a bad mood. The waiter had already cleared the table once, so no one could tell how much he had drunk. They were just chatting, but they were talking about the relationship between Yin Hongwei and the family Ouyang. Ouyang Yin was afraid that the family Ouyang would be implicated because of Yin Hongwei, so he insisted on asking Jiang Zhao out. Jiang Zhao made it clear that he should put away the recording. Ouyang Yin knew that he had exposed himself during the day. He repeatedly promised that he would not play any tricks. Only then did Jiang Zhao come out to meet with Ouyang Yin. They were just chatting. Jiang Zhao thought it was normal, but Yi thought it was ambiguous. This was the Ouyang Yin's ability. He said that just to show Jiang Zhao how good he was at being a peacemaker. In front of Yi, he acted as if he and Jiang Zhao were very close. Yi felt that when facing the Ouyang Yin, she had to be stubborn and not turn back. What restraint, what generosity, what rationality, all of it was useless. She could not compare to the Ouyang Yin in any of these things. She could only learn from Xiaqian. She was confused about everything. Everyone thought that there was something wrong with her IQ, but she was still able to live her own life smoothly. She could not compare to the Ouyang Yin in these things, but her skin was thicker than the Ouyang Yin's. She could throw away her integrity. These were things that the Ouyang Yin could not bear to throw away, at least for now. Even if the Ouyang Yin was scheming, he valued his image very much. She, Yin had nothing to do with it. Things like moral integrity had been completely shattered after pestering Jiang Zhao along the way. Therefore, she could do shameless things, and she could do it. Moreover, her age allowed her to do some shameless things. At this age, it was easy for others to forgive her if she did something stupid. She might even be called cute. At worst, she would be called childish. But if the same thing happened to a 27-year-old woman, people would call her brainless. It's so hot. How do you wear it? Don't you know that there's air conditioning in the private room? Jiang Zhao's voice was slightly cold. This suit, he felt that it was not right to wear it, but it was also not right to not wear it. He had used such a heavy tone to yell at her, but she still insisted that he wear it. She was as stubborn as a bull, and even said that she was mentally ill. He also felt that she was mentally ill, but she was not completely stupid. Thinking about her car accident, he felt very guilty. But he had already said it. How could he take it back? A man who did not keep his words, was he still a man? How could he work? What kind of career could he have? Yi felt that she should stop. Jiang Zhao had already given her a way out. The reason why he did not wear it was because the room was too hot. It had nothing to do with anything else. She could not continue arguing. Otherwise, who knew what the Ouyang Yin would do? He folded the suit and put on his arm. Yi was originally standing opposite Jiang Zhao, and the Ouyang Yin was standing on Jiang Zhao's left. At this time, Yi squeezed to the left of Jiang Zhao and pushed the Ouyang Yin back. She reached out and held Jiang Zhao's arm. "Hubby, have you eaten dinner?" Jiang Zhao did not push Yi away, nor did he care about the Ouyang Yin who had been squeezed behind Yi. He sneered coldly and said with a hidden meaning, Yin, are you stupid? She still knew to ask if he had eaten. At that time, he went to the hospital. It was lunchtime. He left the hospital with a stomach full of anger. How could he eat? Later, the Yin asked him to come here and drink a stomach full of wine. Yi was glad that Jiang Zhao was willing to pay attention to her. She could take the sarcasm. She felt that it was much better than the cold and fierce words just now. She shrugged and said casually, Actually, it's hard to say. I'm sometimes stupid and sometimes not. It's completely automatic. It changes according to the temperature. It's not under my control. Jiang Zhao smacked his lips. Oh, so you're saying that you don't usually use your brain to control your behavior? Isn't the category of stupid and not stupid controlled by the central brain? Your body? Are you saying that you usually use your body to control the question of whether you're stupid or not? Yer felt that she had been tricked by herself. The reason was that her knowledge was limited. She shouldn't have brought up such a topic that had a lot of variation between words. If she continued to talk about any of the branches, she would be dead. She was obviously no match for Jiang Zhao. You can't say it like that. Then what do you mean? Or are you trying to tell me that you don't have a brain at all? That's why when your body controls your body, there will often be situations where the same poles repel each other. That's why you hit the line? That's why you're stupid? Yi was confused by this topic that was getting deeper and deeper. It was becoming more and more illogical. Since she had said something wrong, she might as well change it. Who said that I don't have a brain? Jiang Zhao had drunk too much. The more he said, the more he wanted to laugh. Do people with brains use their body to control whether they're stupid or not? You've heard of clumsy people, but have you heard of stupid people? All right, I have a brain. Whether I'm stupid or not is controlled by my brain. I can completely control it. This is not an automatic, it's a manual. You use your hand to control your brain? Jiang Zhao. Yi felt that she had gone from being dizzy to collapsing. Yin bit her lip as she stood between the two of them. She did not know what was the point of this topic. Only a woman with a low IQ would talk about such meaningless topics with a man like Jiang Zhao. The things that she had discussed with Jiang Zhao in the past, a woman like Yi would never be able to get a word in. A woman like Yi was indeed not fit to stand next to Jiang Zhao. The difference between them was really too big. Jiang Zhao was so anxious that Yi suddenly stomped her foot and bared her teeth. He laughed a few times. Seeing how anxious she was so anxious that her face was flushed red. She must have felt that she had lost a lot of face. That was why she was acting like this. Did she still know how to be thick-skinned? The three of them stood rooted to the ground. At this moment, Yi wanted to change the topic. If she continued talking, she would not be stupid. Her brain would definitely be in a vegetative state by Jiang Zhao. It had completely entered a dormant state and did not need to move at all. She turned around. Zhao has already put on her clothes and is ready to leave. Sister Yin still has an appointment. Are you waiting? We won't disturb you then. Sister Yin, please go ahead. Jiang Zhao suddenly remembered that he wanted to send Yin off. He walked around Yi before looking at Yin. Yun, put on your clothes. Let's go. Yi did not manage to swallow her saliva. She was so agitated that she started coughing nonstop. Adulterous couple. It was one thing to scold Jiang Zhao and Yin for being adulterous in her heart, but she also had to learn from Yin, right? She did not care whether they were going to leave or not. Anyway, she had already lost a lot of face today. She just had to pretend that she did not feel embarrassed. How could she really let the adulterous couple leave? She had just woken up not long ago. Although she could jump around and travel thousands of miles in the cold winter to find her husband, it was a little exaggerated, but art came from life. So what if it was thousands of miles? Didn't the ancients also mess up quantifiers when they wrote poems? At most, she was just inheriting a good tradition. Anyway, Jiang Zhao had already said that it was scary for her to be uncultured. It was normal for her not to know how to count. Even though she could climb up the stairs to the third floor without eating, she was still a patient, wasn't she? This was an undeniable fact that no one could deny. It was normal for a patient to be a little confused. It was pardonable for her to pretend that she did not understand the adulterous relationship between the adulterous couple. Hence, Ye held Jiang Zhao even tighter. She leaned her head on his muscular arm, making the two of them look more intimate. She looked at Ouyang Yin and smiled like a virtuous lady. Sister Yin, hurry up and put on your clothes. We're waiting for you. But in her heart, she was scolding. Wait my ass. Hurry up and put on your clothes and go home by yourself. However, she clearly noticed a flash of anger in Ouyang Yan's eyes. Haha, little guy, if you have the ability, don't be angry. Why? Are you blaming me for ruining your good time? Who asked you to ruin my good time? You're right. You ruined my good time, but I'm not allowed to ruin yours? What kind of dream are you having? You must be dreaming. Jiang Zhao did not expect that Yi Er would also want to go. He was just going to send someone off. Besides, he had already agreed. I'll get the designated driver to send you back to the hospital first. Why are you running around outside? Yi Er held Jiang Zhao's arm and leaned on Jiang Zhao. Her voice was soft and gentle. I've been cooped up in the hospital for more than 20 days. I want to come out for some fresh air. It's so suffocating. She complained in her heart. Do you think I want to go out for some fresh air? Little girl, I can't even stand properly. You heartless man. Don't you know that your wife hasn't recovered yet? Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 590. You really? Jiang Zhao held his forehead. He had to think of a way to get her back to the hospital. Looking at Ouyang Yin, who had already gone to get her coat, Jiang Zhao said, I have something to say to Yun Yun. What are you going to do? I can listen in. I won't disturb you. No, her goal was to disturb them. She had to disturb them to the end. She still didn't know what the two of them had done while she was asleep for more than 20 days. Forget it. She couldn't think about it. Just thinking about it made her want to go crazy. Just treat it as if she had died during those 20 days. Even if she had died, she couldn't ask a man to be a widow for her, right? But wasn't she alive now? No, this wouldn't do. Couldn't he be a widow for her? Although it wasn't appropriate to use widowhood on a man, wasn't equality between men and women now advocated? She couldn't think about it anymore. The more she thought about it, the more she would be driven to a dead end. Listen in? Jiang Zhao thought to himself that it was precisely because he couldn't let her listen in that he stopped talking when she came in. She had just woken up. She didn't care about him, but she cared about Yin Hongwei. If she was stimulated to the point that something happened to her body, it would be his hard days again. Ouyang Yin put on a camel gray light fur coat and carried a simple black bag in her hand. She was really an elegant young lady from a famous family. Looking at the two of them cuddling together, she smiled. Let's go. How about my things? In the car parked, Jiang Zhao pressed the lock on the car. Yi immediately let go of his arm and ran forward. Ouyang Yin wanted her image and liked men to help her open the car door. She didn't care. She had hands and feet, so she could open the car door herself. So, she ran to open the door to the front passenger seat and sat in. She wouldn't give Ouyang Yin the chance to sit next to her husband. Ouyang Yin gritted her teeth. How shameless. The Yin family used to be a rich family. How did they raise such a shameless daughter? Jiang Zhao opened the back door for Ouyang Yin and let her get in. The moment Yi Er touched the chair, she felt as if she was about to collapse. The first floor Charm Club was a disco with strong music, while the third floor was a private room. Charm Club was a place where young people would spend their money. The decor was more rebellious and trendy, and very few people would take the elevator. Not to mention the fact that it was surrounded, there was no atmosphere. Therefore, when they went to the third floor, a waiter in a golden vest led Yi Er up the stairs. Her body was not in good condition, and the heavy metal music made it difficult for her to breathe. When they reached the third floor, they entered a private room. Charm Color's decoration couldn't be compared to Peerless Beauty's, and the smell inside wasn't as fresh as Peerless Beauty's. The air didn't seem to circulate as well. It was probably because the cost of the oxygen pipeline wasn't on the same level as Peerless Beauty's. Along the way, Yi Er's chest felt stuffy and short of breath. Jiang Zhao got into the car, and pulled the door shut. He inserted the key into the keyhole and turned it. While the car was starting and waiting for the car to warm up, Yer was already leaning against the seat, seemingly asleep. Seriously, Jiang Zhao rolled his eyes at Yer. She was so annoying. He didn't know why she was here. He reached out and touched her forehead. He didn't take off his down jacket because he was afraid that turning on the air conditioner would make her feel too hot. All 4 car windows were rolled down slightly. After Ouyang Yin got into the car, she habitually took off her jacket. She sniffed and felt that the warmth hadn't returned yet. Second brother, why didn't you turn on the air conditioner? Jiang Zhao felt that it was about time for the car to warm up, so he stepped on the accelerator. As he steered the steering wheel, he said, Yin Yi is probably sleepy, so let her sleep for a while. I was afraid that she would feel hot if I turned on the air conditioner, so she wore quite a lot of clothes. As he said this, the car drove out of the parking lot and onto the small road leading out of Charm Color's open-air parking lot. When he saw that Yi Er's breathing had become more even, he remembered that she hadn't put on her seatbelt, so he slammed on the brakes. The car wasn't going very fast, but because Ouyang Yan's body leaned forward, her head hit the back of Jiang Zhao's seat. She cried out in pain. As for Yi Er, because her back was leaning against the seat, she didn't feel much pain. Second brother, how can you drive like this? There's no car in front. Why did you slam on the brakes? Ouyang Yin was a gentle Ouyang Yin. Even when she was throwing a tantrum and complaining in front of Jiang Zhao, she was still as gentle as ever. It was just that she was a little annoyed. I forgot to put on Yi Er's seatbelt. She gave me a fright just now. Just thinking about it makes me feel that it was dangerous. When he found her by the river, she was tied behind her back and wedged between the front and back seats. If she had put on a seatbelt, how could she have been so seriously injured? His heart tightened. He unbuckled his seatbelt, turned sideways, and stretched half of his body into the front passenger seat. His arms were long, so when he unbuckled the seatbelt on the front passenger seat, he didn't touch Yi Er. He carefully pulled it over. The seatbelt slid out of the car door frame with a soft whoosh sound. He was afraid of waking Yi Er up, so when he pulled the seatbelt out, it was very long. When the seatbelt was in place, it was still very loose on Yi Er's body. After the seatbelt was in place, Jiang Zhao slowly retracted the seatbelt and tightened it. This way, she wouldn't wake up from her sleep. Ouyang Yin watched Jiang Zhao's careful movements and couldn't help but clench her fists. Her fingernails weren't long, but they could still dig into her palms and pierce into her flesh. His heart ached for Yunyi. Was she worried about the heat when the air conditioner was on? Didn't he see that she had already taken off her coat? Second brother, aren't you worried that Yi Er will catch a cold if you don't turn on the air conditioner? Jiang Zhao was stunned. That's right. She slept with her clothes on. Was she caught a cold? Yun, you're really careful and smart. I didn't think of that. As Jiang Zhao answered with a smile, he took off the suit he was wearing. The winter suit was made of high-quality jade, so it should be quite warm. When the suit was draped over Yi Er's body, Ouyang Yin instantly felt irritated. Yin Yi was becoming more and more annoying and detestable. Why wasn't she dead? The man who kidnapped Yin Yi was simply a piece of trash. Jiang Zhao drove the car with a gap in the car window. Ouyang Yin had already put on her coat. Jiang Zhao felt a little cold, but it didn't matter. From time to time, he reached out to touch Yi Er's face to test her temperature. After a while, he reached out to hold her hand again to test her temperature. Ouyang Yin really wanted to jump out of the car and say that she would take a taxi, but she was still unwilling to give up. Other than being a little older than Yunyi and being a little shorter, how could she not compare to her? Yunyi, this woman, shouldn't be living in this world at all. The Ouyang family was simply at odds with the Ouyang family. It was fine if that old thing Yin Hongwei went to jail himself, but now he wanted to drag his family into the water as well. All of them should be buried alive. The car drove to the apartment in the north of the city. Ouyang Yin got out of the car and slammed the door with a bang. Yi Er was shocked. Jiang Zhao's face immediately darkened, and he rolled down the car window. Although his tone wasn't harsh, it was already full of reprimand. Yun, you clearly know that Yun Yi is sleeping. Can't you close the door more gently? At this moment, Yi Er was startled awake. The sound of the car door slamming made her very vigilant. When she opened her eyes, Ouyang Yin was standing outside Jiang Zhao's car door, looking a little aggrieved. Yi immediately sat up straight. We're here. We're here. Why aren't you continuing to sleep? I opened a few gaps in the window for you. It shouldn't be uncomfortable to sleep, right? Jiang Zhao reached out to straighten the suit that had fallen on Yi's lap. He pressed her down onto the seat and placed the suit on her body again. The man said in an unpleasant tone, "If you want to sleep, why aren't you sleeping properly? Why are you moving around?" Yi's heart exploded. What was he trying to do? He told her to sleep here while he went upstairs with Ouyang Yin, who was waiting for him outside the car. This was too much. Yi threw Jiang Zhao's suit aside and lost her temper. I'm not sleeping. She didn't care anymore. She couldn't take it anymore. Who could stand such a thing? It was like she was a person who wanted to eat grapes, but didn't have the money to buy them. When she finally saw someone buy a bunch of grapes and the person spat out the seeds after eating the grapes, she ran over to pick up the seeds and plant them in her yard. She watered and fertilized the grapes every day, catching insects and building a frame. She waited painstakingly for the grapes to ripen and grow into sweet grapes that were bigger than the grapes outside. Usually, if there were two snails that wanted to climb the grape frame, it would be fine. At most, she would just catch them and stomp them to death when she saw them. But King hell, there was such a thing in this world. A grape seed was planted in the ground, but it didn't bear a bunch of grapes. It only bore one. It was big, purple, and tempting. She couldn't bear to eat it. She waited patiently, waiting for the grape to turn purple and black before eating it. In the end, the god of plague who spat out the grape seeds came knocking on her door and insisted that she stole the grape seeds that she spat out. She insisted on plucking the grapes that she planted. Was there still any law? Yin Yi, why are you quarreling? If you don't want to sleep, then don't sleep. Why are you throwing things? Jiang Zhao had a stomach full of anger that he couldn't vent. He was suffering internal injuries from holding it in, and because the Ouyang Yin was outside, he forced himself to calm down after quarreling. He mustn't lose his temper. It was fine to quarrel a little. What was the point of throwing a tantrum in front of outsiders? Yi's heart was filled with grievances, wave after wave. The weather in High City had already dropped to -2 to 3 degrees Celsius. She only drank some soup and thought that he was missing. What else did she want from him? This wasn't the first time she ran out of the house to look for him. Just because she was more attentive than him? Just because she deserved it, right? Some people said that in love, whoever fell in love first would lose. They had also made a bet back then. Why was the loser so pitiful? Why was everything wrong? No wonder no one was willing to lose. He wouldn't lose, and she would never admit defeat. She would never admit how pitiful she was in front of him. Yi opened the car door. I want to go up and sit for a while. If they dared to sleep with her in front of her, she would use the kitchen knife to kill this adulterous couple. They were too much. Jiang Zhao was so angry that he wanted to bang on the door. It was such a cold day. The Ouyang Yin knew to go back. Why did she still want to go to his place? She had been out for so long. She probably hadn't even lost the night's medicine. Now she didn't even want to leave. She was so bored that she became an idiot. Yin Yi, are you crazy? What are you going up for? Go back to the hospital. I don't want to. I just want to go upstairs and sit for a while. When Yi got out of the car, she slammed the car door. Jiang Zhao had no choice. He could only park the car at the marked parking space and get out of the car. Ouyang Yin didn't want Jiang Zhao to see her angry expression, so she walked faster to chase after Yi. Yi walked in front like the protagonist. She thought to herself, why can't I walk faster? Why can't I take the lead and walk in front? This house is my husband's. Even if it was a premarital property, after 5 years of marriage, it would be a joint property. She couldn't divorce him. This house would sooner or later become her and her husband's joint property. Come and see. Songshu 566. Chapter 591. Ouyang Yan's eyes were filled with anger. She almost wanted to kill Yi right here and now. It was really troublesome to deal with this kind of woman. She couldn't provoke her no matter what she said. After entering through the glass door, they walked through the waiting area and walked towards the elevator corridor. The environment of the neighborhood was very good. There were many potted plants in every elevator waiting area. It was winter now, so most of the plants were green. However, there were also plants like the fortune tree. The temperature in the waiting area was a few degrees higher than outside. The fortune tree had braids on its stems. There weren't many green air because the air and sunlight were not as direct as outside. The color was a light yellow. Yi-Er walked in front while Ouyang Yin followed behind. Yi-Er wanted to see what Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yin were doing behind her. She walked so slowly. When she turned around, she happened to see Ouyang Yin's murderous eyes. Wow, this woman also has such a gaze. Did the sun rise from the east this morning? Ouyang Yin didn't expect Yi-Er to suddenly turn around. She didn't stop walking. She wasn't as tall as Yi-Er, but Yi-Er was wearing flat heels today. She was wearing high heels today, so they were about the same height. Therefore, Jiang Zhao, who was still behind her, didn't see Yi-Er's last expression clearly. Ouyang Yin bumped into Yi-Er. Actually, she didn't use much force. However, when Yi-Er screamed, her voice sounded very surprised and panicked. But behind her was the fortune tree's big pot. Although Yi also used some skill to avoid the pain of the fall, she did not calculate the direction of her fall clearly. Bang! Her head crashed into the beautiful night sky in front of her eyes, and the stars were so bright. Jiang Zhao heard Yi-Er scream and pushed the door with force. The glass door bounced back after Jiang Zhao left. It bounced back and forth a few times before it stopped. Yi-Er lay on the ground, trying to make her moans sound more painful. Wasn't this the effect she wanted? She didn't believe that the two of them would be able to throw her upstairs to have fun. She wouldn't give them such a chance. Rubbing the back of her head, she felt like dying. She just wanted to act, to learn how the mistress in TV dramas would harm the legal wife in front of the man. She was so good at it. If it wasn't a miscarriage, it was a sprain. The male lead would definitely scold the female lead, but she didn't want to act so realistically. Was it because she had bad intentions, so God was punishing her? Because in soap operas, mistresses didn't have a good ending. But God had wronged her. She was the first wife, not a mistress. Her eyes were in so much pain that she wanted to cry. The words that came out of her mouth were extremely unbelievable and quite pitiful. Elder Sister Yin, why did you push me? If you don't want me to go upstairs, just say so. Why did you have to push me so fiercely? Yi-Er felt that she was saving herself by acting like a mistress in the soap operas. Even her tone and gaze were so similar. A mistress's lovely and pitiful appearance made people sympathize with her. Even if they didn't sympathize with her, they couldn't bear to scold her. She didn't know if it was because her acting was too good or because her body hadn't recovered and was very weak. At this moment, Yi-Er's injury looked a little serious. Ouyang Yin was stunned. She didn't expect to be played like this. She looked at Yi-Er and felt even more disgusted. She said coldly, "What nonsense are you talking about? When did I push you? You turned around on your own. I didn't hit you hard. You fell back on your own." Ouyang Yin was telling the truth. The truth was that Yi-Er wanted to frame her. She wanted to find something annoying to make Jiang Zhao give up and go upstairs. Jiang Zhao wanted to pull Yi-Er up and rush her to the hospital. But in the next second, when he saw Yi-Er take out the hand behind her head to wipe the tears on her face, he was stunned. Blood was coming out of her head. He couldn't stand the shock of seeing Yi-Er injured. He immediately bent down and carried Yi-Er from the ground. His eyes were cold and filled with hostility as he stared at Ouyang Yin. The words he said were the harshest words he had ever said to Ouyang Yin. Ouyang Yin, he called her by her name. Jiang Zhao had always called her Yun Yun. Ouyang Yin was stunned. She took half a step back. Her body trembled when he called her Ouyang Yin. Yun Yin's health isn't good. She just wants to go upstairs and sit for a while. She wants to go upstairs and sit for a while. What's wrong with a sick person being willful? Do you have to be like this? Jiang Zhao bit his lips. When facing Ouyang Yin, he would never be able to get angry like he did with Yi-Er. For example, when he saw Ouyang Yin, he couldn't even curse. Some people were just like that. When you saw her, you would treat her like a goddess. It was as if you couldn't bear to blaspheme her. Even vulgarities should be insulted from her. Some people were just like Yer. When they did something wrong, they couldn't help but scold her. After scolding her, they wanted to dote on her. But Yer could throw a tantrum at him. He could control her and be fierce to her. But how could others do the same? Or even push her? She was just in a bad mood after being sick for a while and wanted to throw a tantrum. She just wanted to go upstairs and sit for a while. Perhaps she wanted to go upstairs and look at the plants on the balcony. People who were sick were always fickle. Ouyang Yin was a magnanimous person. How could he push Yer just because she was being unreasonable? Yer was really feeling a little dizzy. In the beginning, there were still stars spinning in the sky. But now it was almost dawn. The stars had disappeared and it was getting darker. The surroundings were getting quieter. She leaned into the man's arms and felt very at ease. She wanted to sleep for a while. This apartment is mine to begin with. She doesn't even have a right to go upstairs and sit. Even if you're unhappy, you shouldn't push her. She just woke up yesterday. And even if you're unhappy, she can go upstairs and sit there if she wants. Jiang Zhao didn't want to waste any more time talking to Ouyang Yin. When he carried Yer to the glass door, he turned around with his back facing the glass door. In front of him was Ouyang Yin, who was so anxious that she was crying. He used his back to push the door open and said fiercely, "It's good that she's fine. If you cause her to be in a coma for a few more days, I'll tell you. Let me tell you, no matter whether the Ouyang family's affairs are related to Yin Hongwei or not, don't expect me to intervene." When Jiang Zhao finished speaking, he pushed the door open with his back. His long legs were wide. He was running as fast as he could, but he was worried that he would shake her head if he ran too fast. After placing her on the passenger seat, he laid her down flat. At this moment, Yer suddenly left Jiang Zhao's arms. Her sense of security disappeared instantly. She was afraid that Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yin would leave her behind. However, she was very tired and could only call out anxiously, "Hubby, hubby." Jiang Zhao's hand was grabbed. When he heard Yer calling out for him, he quickly bent down and kissed her lips. His other hand caressed her forehead and gently combed her hair back. Be good, be good. Hubby will take you back to the hospital. We're here. I need to drive. Be good if you don't let go. Hubby can't drive. We need to hurry to the hospital." Yunyi, be good. Jiang Zhao's coaxing had reached the limit. Be good, be good. When Yer heard this familiar voice, although it was dry, it was very warm. Jiang Zhao retracted his hand and patted the back of Yer's hand comfortingly a few times. Then, he helped her fasten her seatbelt. Along the way, Jiang Zhao drove with one hand. From time to time, he would pat Yer's shoulder or hand to tell her that there was always someone by her side and that there was no need to be afraid. When his condition was better, he would hold her hand with one hand and gently massage the web between her thumb and forefinger. Jiang Zhao did not dare to tell Yin Hongwei that Yer had injured her head because the doctor said that the main reason why she fainted was because she was too tired. She had just recovered and should not be too tired. Otherwise, she would not be able to take it. They should open the window more to let in some fresh air and let the patient rest for a few days. Jiang Zhao thought about the environment today and was afraid that none of them were suitable for rest. The doctor said that there was a small wound on the back of the patient's head. It will be fine after 2 stitches. The main problem was that she needed more rest. She could take some supplements now. As for what the doctor said, he could not tell Yin Hongwei anything. Later, when he told him the whole story, he might ask them to get a divorce again. This father-in-law was the best at threatening people. When he threatened someone, he would directly pick the thing that he cared about the most. When the stitches were done, they gave her some anesthetic. A small piece of hair was shaved at the injured area. When a nurse was about to throw it into the trash can, Jiang Zhao said, "Give this to me. Don't throw it away. My family says that long hair should not be thrown outside after it has been cut." Jiang Zhao remembered that Qin Zhen had told him before that if a woman's hair was long, she should go to the hairdresser to have it cut. In the end, she should bring it home and not throw it away. It was inauspicious. He asked her why. She said that there was no reason. "In the past, after I got married to your father, I wouldn't cut my hair. Your father was very unhappy. He said that a married couple's hair was cut and thrown outside like this. What kind of woman was she? In the end, they really divorced. Who knew? It was just a superstition. In any case, after Yi got together with him, she had not cut her hair. Occasionally, she would trim the split ends, but it did not grow much. The quality of her hair was not very good. In the past, she had permed and dyed her hair. Especially from the middle to the waist, it was very dry. Only the part from the top to the middle was smooth to the touch. She held her hair in her hand. Half of it was black, and the other half was yellow. It was a little curly and did not look good. While the nurse was stitching up Yi, she twirled her long hair around her finger. Yin had been waiting in the waiting room outside the elevator. There were humanely arranged chairs in the waiting room. She sat on it and lowered her head. Thinking about what had happened that night, she felt her blood boil. Yin was too vicious. She was not even 20 years old. How could she be so arrogant and dare to scheme against her? Not only did she scheme against her, she actually dared to hit herself so hard. Her head was almost broken. Now, what kind of person did she become in front of Jiang Zhao? Narrow-minded? Evil in her heart? He spoke in such a harsh tone. Even back then, when she told him that they had been separated for a few years and wanted to go out and try her luck, he had not been so angry. Welfare Songshu 566. Chapter 592. Actually, they hadn't really broken up. They had only said that they would be apart for a few years, and he had said that he would wait for her. But now, he would never admit that their relationship was just a temporary separation for a few years. She had left without any hesitation because she believed that he would be faithful to her. If a man like Jiang Zhao had started to be unfaithful, would there still be a reliable man in this world? What did he say? If something happened to Yunyi, he would never interfere in the family Ouyang's matters. How ruthless! Did he think that she, Ouyang Yin, had to rely on him? Did he think that he was so great? Did he think that she had swallowed her pride and looked for him because she wanted him to help her family, Ouyang? He thought too highly of himself. She slowly picked up her phone and dialed a number. Her gaze slowly recovered from its daze and became clearer and clearer. There were daggers in her gentleness. When the other party picked up, Ouyang Yin chuckled and said, "Grandpa, are you asleep?" Yes, I miss you. Yeah, I want to talk to you about something. Although the sky was already dark, it was winter after all, so it was still early. It wasn't even 10 o'clock yet. After Xia Qian got a car, she deliberately paid more attention to riding a bicycle. She always felt that people who often drove were prone to subhealth problems. As someone who worked in the media, she always knew a lot about this. She was very afraid that she would develop subhealth problems at such a young age, so she would ride a bicycle for an hour every night. She rode the bicycle very fast, which was the only way to train. She threw her sweater jacket into the bicycle basket. She wore a pair of singlet pants, which made it easy for her to ride the bicycle. Riding a bicycle at this time of night had its benefits. There weren't many people riding on the road. As long as it wasn't in the city center or the commercial district, there weren't many pedestrians. Riding a bicycle at this time of night was the best. Otherwise, she would have to go to the riverside very early to ride. On the asphalt road outside the sidewalk, she whooshed through the wind and fog. She was in a positive mood. The trees planted by the roadside were as big as rice cookers. There was a parking line between the trees, and the number of cars parked in the line ranged from 30 to 50,000 to 3 to 5 million. Behind her was a loud fart that shook everyone's ears. A modified motorcycle arrogantly passed by Xia Qian from behind. Although she cursed the person who modified the motorcycle as a lunatic, she had to admit that she was scared by this lunatic. The consequences of being scared were more serious, causing her bike to tilt and fall onto the car next to her. Xia Qian was a media person. She felt that she was promoting positive energy at any time and place, but promotion and yin yilv were two different things. She looked at the wheels of the car. On the wheels was the logo of the car. In fact, a car like Bentley was nothing special. It was just that she couldn't afford it. Xia Qian believed that positive energy needed to be promoted. For example, don't be calculative, don't be unforgiving, have a broad mind, have great love in your heart, be kind like water, have a heart of tolerance for the people of the middle and lower class of society, and learn to bemoan the state of the universe and pity the fate of mankind. The owner of the Bentley must be a kind person, so he wouldn't care about the small damage a bicycle caused to his car. Xiaqian took a deep breath and looked around. Then she generously picked up her bicycle and prepared to escape. Hearing the door lock click, Xiaqian quickly got on the bicycle. Before she could take a step, the back of her collar was grabbed by a tall and lanky man. Hey, hey, hey! A gentleman uses his mouth, not his fists. When Xiaqian couldn't pedal, she realized that not only was she grabbed, but the back seat was also grabbed. Miss, don't you know that you have to pay for broken things? Xiaqian felt that the voice was familiar. She stretched out a hand that was holding the armrest and scratched her head. Suddenly, an idea flashed through her mind. She immediately turned around and looked at the man who was holding her clothes from the back. Was this guy flirting outside at night? He was dressed like a tyrant in a Korean drama. Was he acting in Winter Love or Love in Blue? But the male lead's eyes weren't so evil, okay? Don't be like this every time. Ah, Mr. Shun, hello. Long time no see. You're getting more and more. Xiaqian desperately tried to think of an adjective to describe him. Handsome? Too old-fashioned, too vulgar. Handsome? Wasn't it about the same? Before she could think of anything, Shun Kai loosened his hands and casually patted them a few times. Yeah, it's fate. Why do I run into you everywhere? Shun Kai suddenly loosened his grip. Xiaqian had one hand on the steering wheel and the other on her head. She twisted her body backward and stepped on the pedals. Shun Kai loosened his grip, and the car immediately tilted. Shun Kai didn't even have time to pull it, and it fell to the ground. Xiaqian thought to herself, good, good. It wasn't embarrassing because she wore thick winter clothes, and it didn't hurt. She stood up and fixed the bicycle. Mr. Shun, you're good at kung fu. I can't even handle your shadowless kicks. Shun Kai had met Xiaqian a few times and could roughly guess her personality. Is that so? Then I'll try the 18 dragon palms again. Knowing that Xiaqian was referring to his hands as feet, he cooperated and lifted his feet. The shiny leather shoes made Xiaqian's eyes hurt. Fine, Xiaqian admitted defeat. Some people didn't care if you called their hands or feet. They just wanted to make you suffer and didn't care about anything else. Next time, she had to think of a way to make a program. The topic was how to rebuild the self-esteem of young people nowadays. Yi woke up after the drip. When she woke up, Jiang Zhao was sleeping beside her. His arm was under her head, his head was leaning against hers, and his chin was on her shoulder. Was he back at the hospital? Was it the next day? No, she had to be sure what time it was. Honey, what day is it now? What time is it? Jiang Zhao suddenly opened his eyes and said doubtfully, Honey, are you stupid? It's been less than 2 hours since you came back from the apartment in the north of the city. There are still a few minutes before the drip is finished. Why are you asking about the time? Yi was happy. So it was the same day. If she stayed in the hospital for less than 2 hours, it meant that Jiang Zhao didn't go upstairs to the Ouyang apartment. Even if there was no traffic at night, driving to the hospital from there would be no traffic. It would take nearly 50 minutes. Really? Yes, really. Honey, I really like staying in the hospital. Really, really. Yi was so excited that she wanted to reach out and hug Jiang Zhao. However, she forgot that there was a needle on the back of her hand to guide the medicine. When she reached out to hug Jiang Zhao, the needle was tilted and it was a tragedy. 3 minutes later, Jiang Zhao was wearing his pajamas and standing in front of the bed. He was looking at the nurse cleaning Yi's wound. He suddenly felt that he should go to Hong Kong to look for a fortune teller as soon as possible. He really doesn't want to stay in High City for even a minute. It must be bad luck this year for so many things to happen. The nurse looked at the wound on the back of Yi's hand. Yesterday, the mayor's wife had overturned the forced stand after vomiting and strained the back of her hand. This time, she did something else and strained the back of her hand again. How can Yi admit that she wanted to hug Jiang Zhao? How can she admit it in front of the nurse? After the nurse finished cleaning Yi's wound, She kept a pile of used cotton balls, disinfectant, gauze, etc. She reminded Yi not to touch the water and to come over tomorrow morning to change the gauze before leaving the room. Yi raised her hand and looked at it. She felt that it was nothing serious. It was just a small injury. She lay down again. When she saw that Jiang Zhao was still standing, she opened her arms to him and asked him to hug her. "Hubby, let's sleep together. I want to sleep with you." Jiang Zhao lifted the blanket and looked at her. He couldn't help but want to eat her up. Didn't she know that he had not eaten meat for a long time and couldn't resist her temptation? Not to mention, she looked so cute right now. He wasn't immune to her coquettish and cute tricks. Didn't she know that? "I don't want to sleep with you." Yi heard this. How can she do this? She doesn't want to sleep with him. And her tone was so cold. They slept together last night. Was it because of the Ouyang Yin? Yi also lifted the blanket on her bed and got out of bed barefoot. Jiang Zhao was about to stop her, but Yi had already jumped onto Jiang Zhao's bed. The size of the bed was not comparable to the bed at home, but it was much bigger than the bed in the public hospital. After Yi fell asleep, she patted the empty space beside her hand and smiled sweetly. "Honey, come on. Let's sleep." Jiang Zhao shook his head and sighed. She should sleep. Anyway, she took Western medicine and should fall asleep soon. As long as she didn't move, she would be fine. No matter why Yi wanted to sleep with Jiang Zhao, her heart was beating wildly. Jiang Zhao's deliberate alienation made her feel extremely insecure. She always wondered if he would do something with the Ouyang Yin. After all, he had lost his temper with her before they got married. She had no right to ask about the things between him and that woman. She had repeatedly promised that she would not interfere in the matters between him and that woman. Yi turned Jiang Zhao over and over again. In the end, she decided to turn around and hug him from behind. Her slender hand slid into his pajamas. Her hand was a little cold. When she touched the man's chest, Yi felt that he couldn't help but tremble. At this moment, regardless of whether Yi's hand was cold or not, Jiang Zhao couldn't stand her carelessly touching him like this. He had already said that he was a man who hadn't eaten meat for more than 20 days. Now his stomach was rumbling with hunger. Not to mention that this girl could get out of bed now. As long as she was alive, he wouldn't be able to stand it if she ran up to the tip of his nose and circled around him. Yi didn't notice at all. Her thoughts were still on the Ouyang Yin. She was worried that Jiang Zhao's soul would be seduced by that woman while she was unconscious. That was why she didn't move when she hugged him. She didn't know that Jiang Zhao was about to explode from holding himself back. Until Yi didn't believe it and slid her hand into Jiang Zhao's pants. Beauty novel Songshu 566 that you're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.